Down with an injury and had to miss the big game. The Huskies started a receiver, Billy Scollard, at the position of quarterback, and it just didn't work out. The Dinos ran away with the game. They ran away with the game and captured the nation's ultimate prize, the Vanier Cup. And once again, the circle comes round, and these two teams meet in the Atlantic Bowl. And you know, they say what goes around does come back around. This year, it's Calgary whose starting quarterback, John Callan, is injured. He has an injury to his throwing hand. He's going to play, but not at pivot. Instead, he will be replaced by Jason Assen. Assen did okay last week in leading the Dinos to a Hardy Cup win over UBC, but you wonder, will it be enough to beat the toughest defense in the country? Because now St. Mary's isn't known for its star quarterback, Chris Flynn, but rather its awesome defense, the best in the nation. Adversity is the first path to truth. St. Mary's hoping this year the truth will emerge on the turf at Husky Stadium. It's the rematch. Payback time. Calgary and St. Mary's. Next on TSN. TSN proudly presents coast-to-coast coverage, the CIAU National Semifinals. It's the Atlantic Bowl, and Calgary against St. Mary's, and the Churchill Bowl, Queens against Guelph. Brought to you by Geo. Get to know Geo at a Chevrolet Geo dealer near you. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it. And good afternoon. Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul Romanek. Live from the Skydome in Toronto, I will be hosting TSN's university football coverage all afternoon. First, we will go out east to the Atlantic Bowl, and then we will be back here at the Skydome for the Churchill Bowl. The purpose of the games to determine the Vanier Cup finalists. That game will be played 1 week from today here at the Skydome. So in that regard, Toronto, a city in waiting, a city waiting to crown a national university football champion. You know, one of the toughest burdens to bear in the world of sports is the burden of historical failure. And a couple of the teams in action in games this afternoon bearing that burden. Queens, which will play in the Churchill Bowl, trying to crawl out from underneath the rock that was dropped on them last year when they blew a halftime lead of 22-3 and ended up losing to Laurier. And then out east, you have St. Mary's, a team that has been there but not managed to win it all. Certainly in 1988 they didn't win it all when they met Calgary in the Vanier Cup Championship and were stomped underneath the cleats of the Dinosaurs. So a couple of games coming up. The first one you will see will be the Churchill Bowl. That'll actually be the second one. That will be from the Skydome. The first game you will see will be live from Halifax, the Atlantic Bowl, from Husky Stadium. It'll be the Dinos up against the St. Mary's Huskies. And covering that game for TSN will be John Wells and Leif Pedersen. It's kind of frosty out there, but as you can see by the look in the sidelines, it is, to cop the cliche, an absolutely beautiful day for a big football game.
You're absolutely right, Paul. It is a gorgeous afternoon here at St. Mary's University, and yesterday it was pouring rain and very, very cold, so we've gotten very lucky today.
Oh, yesterday I thought the arc was coming down Barrington Street. It was raining so hard, but today a perfect +8, gorgeous day for these two teams to play.
This is a rematch of the 1988 Vanier Cup between Calgary and St. Mary's. Calgary won that time. This is the first time that Pete Cannellan has bumped into Larry Utek since that particular day.
Yeah, you know, interesting talking with Larry Utek yesterday. He said, against all the coaches I've coached against, he said, Peter Cannellan is the best counter-attacker. And I thought that was quite a compliment to very good, well-coached teams you're going to see this afternoon.
All right, let's look at some of the offensive keys as far as the Calgary Dinosaurs are concerned. Of course, the quarterback will be one of the main areas of focus this afternoon. We'll be watching Jason Assen, who plays in his 5th game for the Dinosaurs.
Yeah, John Callan was the starting quarterback, the veteran at the beginning of the year. He was hurt, could not come back, finish the season. So a wonderful opportunity for Jason Assen. Those are his numbers in 4 league games. Of course, he led them last week to their big win over UBC.
As far as the game plan is concerned, it really revolves around the running back. His name is Craig Kittleson, and he's the #1 rusher in the country.
And what a phenomenal year he had in only 8 games, over 1,200 yards. And what doesn't show in those graphics there were last week against UBC, he had 223 yards rushing. So you know today he's going to be the main man in their attack.
St. Mary's Huskies are unbeaten in 9 games this year in the Atlantic Conference and in the playoff victory last week. Offensive keys will be again at quarterback and at running back. So we'll look at David Sykes as the quarterback for St. Mary's. He gets a lot of rave reviews out in this neck of the woods.
This is a different St. Mary's team than you saw in the past when Chris Flynn was here and it was bombs away. It's a much more balanced offensive attack now. They like the running game, but David Sykes is equally good at standing back in the pocket and throwing. He's a tough competitor, but this is a different team than you saw 4 and 5 years ago. More run, less pass.
Sykes threw for 14 touchdowns, and his #1 offensive weapon will be Sean Monge this afternoon, who averages 7.7 yards a carry.
And really critical to see how he plays this week. He missed 3 games with an ankle injury, only played a half last week. Oxley was the main man carrying the football, but Sean Monge will be a big factor today. Larry Utek told me yesterday, for us to win the game, there's no question we have to be able to run the football. Sean Monge has to be a star for us today. If he's not, we're going to have a long afternoon.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that might decide this Atlantic Bowl here this afternoon in Halifax is the play of the St. Mary's Huskies defense. It is simply a star-studded unit.
They only gave up 70 points in the entire season, 8.8 a game. That's phenomenal. That's the other key for St. Mary's, too. They could possibly win this game with defense.
All right, it's going to be an outstanding football afternoon here on the campus of St. Mary's University as the Calgary Dinosaurs get set to do battle with the St. Mary's Huskies. Hi again, everyone. Blue skies over Huskies Stadium in Halifax, Nova Scotia, as we get set for the Atlantic Bowl. The wind is gusting to 30 kilometers per hour, but it is a beautiful afternoon. Temperature 9 degrees Celsius, and a perfect day for football. A list of the Atlantic Bowl winners who have gone on to capture the #1 trophy in Canadian college football. Acadia did it in 1981, UBC in 82, McGill in 87, and Western in 1989. We're happy to be joined here this afternoon by our maritime host, Alex J. Walling.
Okay, thanks, John. First of all, this is the Atlantic Bowl. Without a doubt, it is Atlantic Canada's biggest single sporting event. It combines the partying of the Calgary Stampede and the joie de vivre of the Quebec Winter Carnival. As for the people here, nearly 10,000, they come from most nooks and crannies in Atlantic Canada. People have been waiting for another year for the 1992 Atlantic Bowl. Gentlemen.
All right, Alex, and here are the 2 men doing battle this afternoon. Larry Utek in his 11th year as head coach at St. Mary's.
And 5 times he's taken his team to the Atlantic Conference title. 2 times he's been to the Vanier Cup. Fortunately, still looking for his first national title. On the other hand, Pete Cannellan, a 10-year veteran of the University of Calgary, and he has won the Vanier Cup 3 times. Would like to get back there and make it #4.
Pretty good matchup this afternoon. 2 pretty solid offensive lineups. We'll see a lot of running this afternoon. We expect from 2 premier running backs in Canadian college football, Craig Kittleson from the University of Calgary and Sean Monge from the St. Mary's Huskies. Almost ready for the kickoff, but first a ceremonial kickoff to this afternoon's football encounter in Halifax.
Good friend of ours, Angelo Santucci, former Hamilton Tiger Cat, Edmonton Eskimo, holding the ball for the Mayor. Angelo in charge of the alumni group here at St. Mary's that came down for this Atlantic Bowl to enjoy all the festivities.
Moira Ducharme is the mayor of Halifax, and then got a pretty good kick away to kick off the Atlantic Bowl.
She kicked with the window. See,
she had the wind. We'll have a terrific crowd, a very enthusiastic crowd on hand here this afternoon. I would say over 10,000.
They are packing them in as Alex J. Walling told us. Every nook and cranny in this stadium will have a person in it. There you get a nice look at the view. They have the residents right behind those stands you're looking at right now, and I can tell you every single window in the place is full. And they are cheering for the hometown Huskies.
Absolutely. Calgary Dinosaurs are going to kick off. Number 79, Bruce Parsons, will kick off for Calgary. He had a big week last week against UBC, kicking 6 field goals in 6 tries as the Dinosaurs down the UBC Thunderbirds at UBC. St. Mary's University Huskies ranked number 1 in the nation, and the University of Calgary Dinosaurs are ranked number 4. And the football afternoon is underway with Parsons kickoff. Coming down to Jeremy Stewart, number 34. Stewart is forced out near the 30-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Huskies, led by David Sykes, who passed for 1,469 yards during the regular season and connected for 14 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's not overly mobile. You will not see him run with it. What he'll do is be courageous and stand tall in that pocket and try and pick out his receivers. But no question, Larry Utek indicated to us they have to run the football to win this game, and that means the running back Sean Monge and the fullback Anthony Oxley ought to be well worked this afternoon.
Steve Sardi, the wide receiver, split to the near side of the field. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. The pitch to Monge. He was met by Roger Reinson. Here's the way this St. Mary's Huskies line up, with an average of about 260 pounds across that front 5.
Yeah, a little better than that, actually, and that's an advantage they think they have, because the Calgary Dinosaurs up front only average a little less than 240, so they feel, St. Mary's feels like that their offensive line can win that battle.
Here are the running backs and the quarterback Sykes. It is 2nd and 10 for the Huskies now. No gain on Monge's first carry of the afternoon. This time Monge has running room. He has a 1st down. He's out across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. Stopped there by Chris Penner, the middle linebacker. A 21-yard gain for Sean Monge. His average during the regular season was 7.7 yards a carry.
And a huge hole opening up. Chris Penner, 65, the middle linebacker, just could not fill it quickly enough. And Sean Monge shows you right away that he is that main man. He's the slashing, quick type of runner that St. Mary's is going to need this afternoon.
This time it's Anthony Oxley, the fullback, for maybe 1 yard. Here's the way the Dinosaurs line up defensively. The key player up front is Chris Conrad, number 56. He's the rush end, playing the left side.
Yeah, 10 sacks on the season in 8 games. That's awfully impressive. The linebacking core there, and a good secondary. This is a defense that really does not take a lot of chances. Peter Cannell and their head coach told me they like to play a lot of zone. They only will rush 5 people maximum. So it's a pretty nice defense for St. Mary's to work against. Not a lot of surprises.
2nd and 8 as Sykes puts it up for the first time. Sardi was the intended receiver, number 80. And it was a little high for Sardi.
Sardi is their number 1 receiver. He's a good target at 6'4", 198 pounds, 38 catches on the season. 15-yard average, not a huge average for a wide receiver, but 6 touchdown catches. And if there was one person that David Sykes will count on in crucial situations, I think you'll see him going to Steve Sardi. That's how Calgary looked at it anyway. They said he is one of the players that we feel like we have to control if St. Mary's decides to throw the ball this afternoon.
A punting situation for the St. Mary's Huskies. On 3rd down. Sagan's punt into the breeze. Bobbled by James Buchanan. And the Dinosaurs do get it back. Buchanan had difficulty with it, and Sean Latter, number 23.
Well, the wind's going to play a lot of tricks. It swirls around in this stadium, and there you saw Buchanan have an awfully difficult time getting it, and Sean Latter, boy, that's a key play to make that recovery. You don't want to turn it over this early in the ball game.
First and 10 for the Dinosaurs in their first offensive sequence. Hassan has some problems, and he is finally brought down. Tony Bailey Number 66 getting through to stop Jason Assen, the quarterback.
The St. Mary's Huskies are a lot different than Calgary on defense. They will bring a lot of people to try and put pressure on Jason Assen this afternoon. That time a tremendous effort by Tony Bailey, number 66, the defensive end. And here's a kid that never even played high school football. He's from a little fishing village outside of Halifax, and he came to St. Mary's. He worked hard and perfected his craft, and there you see the results. He is a fine defensive end.
A big loss of 11 yards on 2nd and 21. There is no running room for Kittleson, number 20. He is the main man in the Dinosaurs offensive scheme, number 20, Craig Kittleson. He averaged 6.5 yards per carry during the regular season, but there was no running room on 2nd and long here.
Second and a bunch. Tough situation for Jason Assen and his offense to be in, and they take the safe route and hope that Kittleson somehow could break one. But St. Mary's defense, which has been a tough defense all year, I mean, we told you in the opening, they've only given up 70 points on the season. I mean, that is phenomenal, and right off the bat, they are showing that they're a pretty tough group.
Mark Common on 3rd down. A low kick with the wind. Taken by Gallagher. Number 73 for St. Mary's, and Gallagher is stopped at the 50-yard line. A 39-yard punt that time, not much of a return, and so far no score at the Atlantic Bowl. University of St. Mary's Huskies, home to the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. A beautiful afternoon in Atlantic Canada.
Each year, hundreds of Canadian coaches develop their skills by taking courses offered by the National Coaching Certification Program. A new program has been developed to help first-time coaches. The 3M Coaching Series, Getting Started in Coaching, suggests easy step-by-step guidelines for new coaches to follow. Make a youngster's first experience with sports a positive one. Booklets are available at participating Canadian Tire stores across Canada.
Just prior to the game, Wayne Kirk, who is one of the coordinators for St. Mary's, said, "It's a nice day, but I'm afraid of the wind. It's swirling. It could affect." Well, on the very first series with that punt, we saw an example. So that's about the only thing troubling so far. Kirk's prognostication actually came true. Again, the fumble, there might be more. That's it from the sidelines.
Breezy afternoon, but the sun is out, and we're happy to be here for the Atlantic Bowl. University of St. Mary's Huskies hoping to get back to the Vanier Cup for the first time since 1988. The year they met the Calgary Dinosaurs and lost.
And this is a great opportunity for David Sykes here. I mean, you get to start in the other team's end, and here's a chance for him to open up. Second series.
Beginning at the Calgary 49. Sean Monge, number 22, carried for the Huskies. And he's inside the 45.
St. Mary's will do some trap blocking, getting some good angles on the Calgary front four, but their main style is just to line them up and man block an area. They're big, they're strong and physical, and they figure that that's the best way for them to block and just allow Sean Monge to find his own hole.
Gain is 4. It is 2nd down and 6. Huskies trying to move a little further into Dinosaur territory. They're at the 45 right now. Sardi flanked to the near side, Ash to the far side, and this time Sykes looks to throw. He was caught by Dan Jeremiah, number 12. The last of the Jeremiahs who played for the Calgary Dinosaurs, Elio Bruno and Massimo, all played for Peter Cannellan, all graduates of St. Francis High School.
And isn't this interesting? They are not known as a risk-taking defense, but Dan Jeremiah on the halfback blitz comes, and he is totally free. Coming on the blind side, David Sykes has no chance, and actually he takes a tremendous shot. Dan Jeremiah is 6'2" and 205 pounds. He's in linebacker category with that size, but Calgary not known as a blitzing team. They changed their pattern up early in this game, and really it pays huge dividends. Well, you like to see that in a team, you know. Like talked to Larry Utek, and he said yesterday, they're a pretty basic defense. They won't bring more than 5 guys, and so we have a good plan for it. But now you see the counter-attacking ability of Peter Cannellan. He recognizes that. They scout themselves. You know, they know their defensive tendencies are pretty soft. So in the biggest game that they're playing this year, they change up on St. Mary's, and it worked perfectly.
All right, let's bring in Alex one more time.
Okay, we got a situation here where the substitute quarterback, Hobie Jackson, people are saying, does he have much experience? As a result of St. Mary's having so many games where they've had a comfortable margin, Jackson has had an opportunity to come in. So if need be, you're not looking at a total green person. That's it.
All right, David Sykes shaken up. He's on the sidelines now. We'll check on the quarterback's condition as we proceed here this afternoon at Huskies Stadium. Third down punting situation for the Huskies. Dana Sagan gets a kick away. Don Blair waits for number 36 and finds a bit of a hole as Blair gets out across the 20-yard line. 43-yard punt that time.
Let's go back and take a look at that great second down play by the Calgary defense. Here's Dan Jeremiah lined up right there. Don't roll it just yet. Now, what David Sykes, the quarterback, has to recognize, if he's going to be up this tight to the line of scrimmage, he better check off and call another play in a hurry or hit that inside receiver quickly. There you see Jeremiah coming. Sykes has no idea that he's bearing down on him, and boy, he takes a punishing hit. Now, if Sykes is able to come back in this game, he better recognize that the next time and try and take advantage of that, because there are openings to be attacked when Calgary does that.
First and 10 for the Dinosaurs. Kittleson carries, number 20, Craig Kittleson, a Heck Crichton nominee, averaging 6.5 yards a carry. He rushed for 12 touchdowns during the regular season.
What a tremendous year. 1,200 yards in 8 games. I mean, that is just a spectacular effort. And, you know, as I mentioned in the opening, he had 223 yards on top of that last week against the University of British Columbia.
Frater, the wide receiver, comes to the near side. Number 8, James Buchanan, flanks to the far side of the field. This is 2nd and 7. Pass is batted down. Noah Cantor, number 79. Jason Assen is struggling as he tries to get this Dinosaur offense rolling early in the game.
That's a key factor for St. Mary's front four. They're all tall. Kentner is 6'4", and watch as he stretches those hands up. I mean, he's up over 10 feet right there with that hand, and Jason Assen just simply can't get it over top of him. Good pressure on 2 series already. You've seen that St. Mary's can put pressure on the quarterback, and boy, that's a nice thing to know early in the game that you're going to be able to get to Assen.
Mark Cummins' first punt traveled 39 yards. This one bouncing near midfield, and it gets a good bounce for the Dinosaurs. Gallagher on the return, and there was not much running room as he gets to the 45. Penalty marker is down. We'll sort it out for you. There are a few Dinosaur fans out here on the East Coast. No scoring yet in the Atlantic Bowl at Huskies Stadium in Halifax. Welcome back to the Atlantic Bowl at Huskies Stadium in Halifax. 1st and 10 for St. Mary's. And good field position again, Leaf, exactly where they started the last drive from, on the 50-yard line.
Boy, not bad if you can start on the other team's 50 every time. And, you know, slowly David Sykes is going to have to take advantage. You can't expect to get this type of field position all day. So this is an opportunity I think they should take advantage of.
Monge gets to the outside this time, and he's better than halfway to a first down. Craig Simpson led the tacklers for Calgary, number 63.
Sean Monke, a nice patient job to wait till Alex Westwater, the pulling guard from the left side, gets his block. There you see Monke with a little fake inside, break it to the outside, and only the good backs, the quick backs, are able to do that. It takes time, and you have to be patient. Let your blocking form in front of you. That was a great run.
7-yard gain, 2nd and 3, Huskies. Steve Sardi comes to the near side of the field. Charles Ash is flanked to the far side of the field. And Oxley carried that time, number 22. There was nowhere to go. Mike Nightingale and Chris Conrad in on the tackle, number 56.
Chris Conrad did an unbelievable job of slashing down from his defensive end spot, and there he is, boom, right to meet Oxley right in the hole. Oxley had no chance. So once again, a big defensive play on 2nd down for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Last series it was Jeremiah, that time 56, Chris Conrad.
Dennis Sagan in, number 17, standing at his own 50-yard line for this third down punt. No scores so far in the Atlantic Bowl. St. Mary's and the Calgary Dinosaurs. Good kick. Blair, number 36, waits for it and decides to give up a single point.
Yeah, Blair was pretty cagey there. He was trying to get the no yards penalty with a little jog of his head there, but St. Mary's very well disciplined coming downfield, and they don't infringe, and they get the single point to open up the scoring in this game. It's a pretty good punt into the wind.
It certainly is. Dinosaurs have not been able to take advantage of the wind at their backs in the opening quarter so far. Jason Assen, the quarterback, with the running backs Cardoni and Kittleson. Inside receivers are Blair and Williams. This is Kittleson, and he has a couple. Here's who Kittleson is running behind, with Scott Kish, the center. Anderson and Loria, the guards. Meyer and Douse are the tackles.
And the #1 target for the Calgary Dinosaurs over the course of the season has been Mike Frater. Number 8, he caught 33 passes coming into this game. The running backs, well documented the year that Craig Kittleson has had. Remo Cardoni, 5'7", 207 pounds. He is the lead blocker in their scheme of things.
On 2nd and 6, Kittleson again, and the Dinosaurs are going to be kicking on 3rd down and a bunch.
And once again, Noah Kantner, 79, was the defensive end that slashed down and stuffed everything up. So both defenses really dominating quite well in the first quarter here. Watch Kantner to the top of your screen, 79. He widens out, and he slashes right through there. And as Kittleson cuts back, Kantner is waiting right there for him.
Mark Common one more time. Just got it away. Gallagher on the return, number 73. Second-year commerce student from Cornwall, Ontario. 36-yard punt that time. So St. Mary's forced back into their own zone now. They'll be scrimmaging near the 40-yard line on 1st down. David Sykes, shaken up on the previous offensive sequence, is back in the game. He's only thrown 1 pass so far this afternoon. Sean Mungie, the outstanding young halfback for St. Mary's, has had the bulk of the load.
Well, the identity of this team has really changed since Chris Flynn left a few years ago. Much more balanced, and I suspect Larry Utek likes it that way. More balanced, they can control the clock a little better. It was such a hit-and-miss offense with Chris Flynn. I mean, he did a tremendous job while he was here, but, you know, it's this is a more high-percentage offense.
Sykes flanks Ash to the near side. Steve Sarty, far side of the field on 1st down. He goes to the far side. Sarty makes the catch in front of Colin Newman.
Sykes waited far too long to let that ball go. Sarty had planted, he'd taken his 4 steps on the hitch pattern, and the ball just took simply too long to get there, and Colin Newman had all kinds of time to react up to it, make the good hit, and knock the ball loose.
It'll count as a completion, but it's for no yards. It's 2nd and 10. Oxley, the ball carrier. It's a loss of 2 yards on the play, and the Huskies are forced to kick quickly themselves. Still in the opening quarter with St. Mary's leading 1-0.
Last week against Mount A, Oxley had 180 yards on the ground. He was the main man in the scheme of things, but interesting that St. Mary's thinks that Mongie is the best of their running backs. Interesting, Cannellan was more worried about Oxley than Mongie.
Sagan back to kick for St. Mary's on 3rd down. Kicking into a rather stiff breeze. Low bouncing kick. Buchanan on the return. He's stopped near the 45. Halder Thorkelson leading the tacklers that time. 1-0 St. Mary's in the lead at the Atlantic Bowl in Halifax.
There you have a look at the Heck Crichton Trophy and, of course, the nominees for this award, which will be given, of course, in the next 7 days. And let's take a look at Kittleson, by the way. A lot of people were saying he is the top back, rushing-wise, in this country. How would St. Mary's handle him? Larry Utek says, and certainly it was quiet confidence, he said, Alex, I respect Mr. Kittleson, but we've had a good opportunity to stop a good back in Grant Keeney, the man who holds the record for the CIAU's all-time rushing yardage. Perhaps that experience is coming true today.
Grant Keeney was here at St. Mary's last week with the Mount Allison Mounties.
Now, John, we talk about a game like this, low scoring, only 1 point here in the first quarter, so field position becomes so important, and gradually Calgary is fighting their way back into the field position battle. You know, first 2 drives started at the 23-yard line, last one 35, now up to the 47. So for Jason Assen, a little better field position with which to work.
Little something to work with for Assen here, as he has Frater and Buchanan as his wide receivers. Frater to the near side. Kittleson gets the call, and he's got about 5 yards.
Well, it's interesting what St. Mary's is doing to Calgary defensively. They are putting literally 7 and 8 men up on the line of scrimmage, and what they like to do is cover all the offensive linemen of the Calgary Dinosaurs, and then nobody can get out and block on their middle linebacker, Alex Iliopoulos, who is their leading tackler. It's an interesting scheme that they're using today. Iliopoulos should end up making a lot of tackles. There you see him right in the middle of your screen, number 44.
This is 2nd and 4 for the Dinosaurs. The pitch goes to Kittleson. He slips and was nailed by Andre Williams, number 21.
See, that's the thing about St. Mary's now. They've found early that Assen is not throwing the football, so they are lining everybody up on the line of scrimmage. Look how quickly the inside halfback, Andre Williams, gets in there. He is in the backfield just as Kittleson wants to make his break, so I think Assen's going to have no choice. He's going to have to throw the football and get these guys to back off a little bit.
Another 3rd down punting situation for the Dinosaurs. Mark Common, 92, standing at his 35 to get a good kick away. Gallagher caught it, dropped it, and got it again. Number 73, Kent Gallagher. Stopped at the 20-yard line by Chris Saharko. 38-yard punt.
That's the residence I talked about earlier behind the main stands, and that is a great spot to watch the game from. I mean, you're right on top of it looking down. That might even be the best seat in the house, one of those dormitory rooms up there.
And it's free.
And it's warm.
And it's warm. But a pretty good afternoon here in Halifax. 9 degrees Celsius. Sun is shining. Rain for a couple of days out here on the East Coast prior to the Atlantic Bowl, but it's a perfect day now. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. Deep in the St. Mary's zone. Sykes intended that for Anthony Oxley, number 22.
And a perfect call. I mean, they've been running the football pretty near on every down. Sykes had only thrown 1 pass up until this point, but the play action to Mongie, and he had Anthony Oxley open. He was in behind Brian Baker, but he just couldn't hang on to it. But the execution was perfect on the play. Just need to grab that thing.
2nd and 10 for the Huskies now.
Of course, you think with these two teams, you know, their desire to run the football, the play action passes should be there.
Huskies back at the 21-yard line from the shotgun. Sykes this time. Rolling to his left and looking for Sardi. Good coverage by Mohamed El Sager, number 15. He's a draft pick of the Edmonton Eskimos. 14 interceptions in his 4-year career with the Dinosaurs.
You watch at the end of this, Sardi turns into the defensive back in a hurry because Elsager was in perfect position to pick off that ball. It just floated into the wind, but Sardi did an excellent job, and that's a good lesson for any receivers watching today, that if you're not going to be able to make the catch, make sure the defensive guy doesn't get it. You change your role in a hurry, and Sardi did that nicely.
Sagan averaging 40 yards per punt this afternoon. He's well back in his own zone now, standing at the 5-yard line. So the Dinosaurs should come out of this with great field position. Sagan's kick into the wind. Buchanan takes it near midfield. And Buchanan has a pretty good run going as he crosses the 35-yard line and met there by Ron Meyer. Or rather, Anthony Bailey, number 66. Over 1,200 yards rushing for Craig Kittleson this season.
And here's where I think Jason Assen should use Kittleson in a different way. He only caught 9 passes on the season, but I would play action, just the same thing that St. Mary's did to them. You're in good scoring position, but you have to change up. Here's the play action.
Good fake by Assen. He has a man open, and a flag goes down on Andre Williams, number 21. Who was covering on Blair, number 36.
And that's an excellent call. Williams made no effort to turn his head around and try and locate the football. He simply ran into Don Blair as he tried to get back and adjust to the football. But the fake, I mean, this is a perfect call. You're in good scoring position, change up a little bit. So that, you see how it holds the middle linebacker now. Had the throw been on target, Blair would have been able to make the catch, but the interference call is just as good.
Assen took a pretty good hit as he released the football. 1st and 10 now for the Dinosaurs. Their deepest penetration of the afternoon, just inside the Huskies' 20-yard line.
Here's where I think the Huskies are going to counter and start bringing a lot of people in a hurry.
Kittleson got the call. Kittleson rushed for 12 touchdowns during the regular season.
Well, one of the pitfalls of a defense that likes to blitz a lot, that time Andre Williams, the halfback, was coming on a halfback blitz, and you spread yourself a little thin. If Kittleson can ever get a quick hitter, you know, there's a lot of territory for him to pick up some good yardage against this blitz. Sometimes you're just lucky, you know, you hit the right hole with the blitz coming and you can make a big play out of it.
On 2nd down, the pitch goes to Kittleson, who tries the other side. He was caught by Eliopoulos, number 44, the middle linebacker. It's a real strength of the Huskies defense. Most valuable player on the defensive side of the ball in 1992.
Yeah, he is
third-year Artsman.
He is their best player. He just scrapes along the line of scrimmage and eyeballs Kittleson all the way. And as soon as Kittleson makes his cut up into the hole, Eliopoulos was there. Perfect shoulder square to the line of scrimmage, and he makes a nice defensive play.
3rd down and about a yard.
And they will gamble. I mean, this is a good call. You're with the wind here. You've got your first scoring chance put together here now, and you know, you've based your season on the running game. 3rd and 1. You would think that Calgary has the confidence that they can pick that up.
So it is 3rd down. And a long yard to go. Almost 2 yards necessary for the first down. Kittleson got the call, and he has the first down with ease. So the Dinosaurs' drive continues. Paul Hewitt in on the tackle, number 40.
And really one of the unsung heroes in the Calgary offense is Remo Cardoni, the fullback. He doesn't get to carry it a lot, but he sure throws some nice lead blocks for Craig Kittleson, and that time it was his block that sprung Kittleson through to pick up the yardage and keep this drive going.
Down to the 6-yard line now, the Dinosaurs. Kittleson has carried 9 times for 22 yards so far and picked up the first down on his last carry. So it'll be 1st and goal to go for the Dinosaurs, trailing 1-0 to the University of St. Mary's Huskies in the opening quarter of the Atlantic Bowl at Huskies Stadium, Halifax. Frater flanks to the near side. Number 8, James Buchanan, far side of the field. Slight delay to Kittleson, and it's well read by the Huskies defense. He likely lost a yard. Eliopoulos, number 44, read it well.
And that's a tough play for the middle linebacker to make because it's a misdirection and counter back the other way. And really, Eliopoulos wasn't fooled at all, and he comes through the middle there and makes his second good play on this drive. That's why he's the MVP.
Certainly is on defense. They've got a pretty good safety in Trevor Burke that Larry Utek is very excited about. Number 10, he's a 3-time All-Canadian, so there is strength right up the middle of this defense of the St. Mary's Huskies. Loss of a yard. This is 2nd and goal to go. Dinosaurs at the 7. Fake to Kittleson. Open to the far side, and they'll score. Dave Evans, number 38, a running back and slot back from Chestermere Lake, Alberta.
And it was a good call, the play action. They had a short yardage style of offense in there with only one wide receiver. You see the fake to Kittleson. It freezes number 31, Cecil Curry, and Dave Evans, nice catch, good throw by Jason Assen, and you know that's a good series for them. They took the ball in scoring position all the way down the field to get the touchdown out of it. That's a real positive sign for the Calgary offense.
Bruce Parsons adds the extra point, and the Dinosaurs have the lead for the first time this afternoon at 7-1. Touchdown to number 38, Dave Evans from Jason Assen.
Let's go back and have a look at the play action. Just see how here's Dave Evans right there. Now, here's the fake will be to Kittleson up here, but Cecil Curry, that's the man on the hot seat. He gets caught right in here, and then you'll see Dave Evans to the outside in a perfectly executed play action on the goal line. There's Curry. He's dead in the water right now. There's no way he can get out and cover Evans, and Jason Assen with a nice soft throw out there. Good catch, and Dave Evans caps off a pretty nice drive.
Dinosaurs slowly work themselves back into good field position with the wind at their backs.
Oh yeah, their field position just got better and better and better. You know, a couple times deep in their own territory, the 35 to 47. And then inside the St. Mary's 35.
All right, I've got the quarterback who just called the play. Go ahead and just tell me what you did.
Well, we went to Kittleson a couple times, so we decided to go with the play action, fake the ball to him, and just hit the fullback out in the flats.
Okay, everything on the plan, Jason?
Well, we started off a little slow, but things are rolling now, and I think we're going to be all right.
What about your running game?
Well, you know, it takes a while to get into a game, especially like this. I think we got the win now, so things are going to start rolling for us.
All right, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. All right, let's go back to the booth.
All right, Jason Assen, who has started 4 games in the regular season for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
He was put in a pretty tough spot. You know, John Kalin was the incumbent, and he had a torn tendon, I believe, in his finger this year. And so all of a sudden, a second-year player, Jason Assen, is asked to come on and lead this team. And, boy, that's a tough conference, that Western Conference out there. They were only 4-4 on the season, I believe. And then they went into Vancouver and beat UBC, which was a huge win for Calgary. But, you know, they've been 6-2 and not made it out of the West before. But to be 4-4 and get to the Atlantic Bowl, it's kind of interesting.
They won at the right time. And obviously last week, 26-24 over UBC was the key game in the Dinosaurs season. And that was a bit of a kicker's duel last week as Bruce Parsons ended up with 6 field goals. 6 for 6 for Peter Cannellan.
It's a well-coached team. Peter Cannellan took last year off on his sabbatical. He went down and studied the football programs at Nebraska, and he studied with the Calgary Stampeders just to try and see how other teams do it. And, I mean, you only make yourself a better coach by doing that, and now he is back full-time again, and it's a good-looking team. It hasn't had the best record of teams he's had in the past, but this is a good-looking team.
He is a 2-time Coach of the Year in Canadian University football. There was a penalty against the Dinosaurs on the kickoff. They were offside, so they'll kick it off one more time. leading 7-1 on the University of St. Mary's Huskies. Jeremy Stewart on the return for the Huskies. He's out across the 35 to about the 38. Trent Schmulin leading the tacklers for the Dinosaurs that time. So decent field position for the Huskies. And that was the final play of the opening quarter at Huskies Stadium in Halifax. For now, Peter Cannellan and the Calgary Dinosaurs have the lead, but there's a lot of football left here. 7-1, Dinosaurs leading the Huskies.
When life takes an unexpected turn, you want someone right there who'll get the coverage before you need it. An independent insurance broker. Find this symbol and you'll find an independent insurance broker who understands.
Some things in life are perfectly clear. Repairing your windshield instead of replacing it makes sense. An unrepaired windshield becomes 50 pounds of unrecyclable garbage. Let Apple repair that stone chip and do your part for the environment.
When life takes an unexpected turn,
I'll give the car a flat.
You want someone right there to look after your interests. An independent insurance broker. Find this symbol and you'll find an independent insurance broker who understands.
Live from the Skydome. There I am. I'm a little dot over there in the corner, I think. Pretty quiet right now. They're pinning the lines onto the field. A few players are out warming up. The coaches aren't even here yet, but our unprecedented coverage continues. We're all over it later this afternoon. Coming up live on TSN right after the Atlantic Bowl, the Churchill Bowl, featuring a battle of quarterbacks. At the helm for Queens, fifth-year man Tim Pendergast. Pendergast with a couple of key passes on a big drive last week against Bishops, a drive that put his team ahead to stay. He'll be opposed by Wally Gabler. While it's hardly a case of the old Hail Mary for Gabler, he can pull a rabbit out of the hat. And victory out of the fire for Guelph. It'll be a battle of running backs. Greg Popke thrust into the spotlight for Guelph. Kyle Walters is out with an injury. And one of a couple of fine running backs for Queens, Brad Elberg, will be working in tandem with his partner, Paul Kozan. And of course, the ultimate battle, the battle of coaches. Doug Hargraves, the Queens coach, making his 5th appearance in the Churchill Bowl. He beat Toronto in 1983. He'll be opposed by Dan McNally, who's been to the Vanier Cup as an assistant coach, but would love to get there as the head man. That's coming up later this afternoon. And one of the other interesting facets of this game, Dan McNally and a number of the Guelph players were quoted after their game last week against Western, a 45-10 thrashing they put on the Mustangs, as saying that they were perfect. Everything was perfect. The question is, can you be perfect 2 weeks in a row? We'll find out later this afternoon. Let's get back to Halifax.
All right, Paul, welcome back to the Atlantic Bowl. Calgary leading St. Mary's 7-1, second quarter just underway. It'll be second down and 11 yards to go for the Huskies. Right at the 49-yard line. John Monge carried for a loss of 1. Charles Ash, number 11, flanks to the near side. It's Steve Sardi, flanker far side of the field.
Hello.
And Mike Messam is in, so they've got a 5-receiver set in. Ash makes the catch and drops it. No catch, actually. Colin Newman was covering. Roger Reinson applying the hit.
It was a good formation for St. Mary's. Trips to the wide side of the field. Now you know you get one-on-one on the back side. It was a good pattern by Ash, but watch the hit by 50. Roger Reinson coming right here. He absolutely unloads on Ash, separates him from the football. So, you know, one for the defense because that was a perfectly executed pass play, a nice scheme. First time they've shown a trips to the wide side of the field all afternoon, and boy, just give Calgary defense credit. They reacted well to it.
Sagan gets an opportunity to punt with the win for the first time this afternoon. Too deep for the Dinosaurs. James Buchanan and Don Blair. Don Blair picking it up near the 40-yard line. Penalty markers are down, and Blair is forced out of bounds near the 50. Timeout at Huskies Stadium, where the Calgary Dinosaurs lead the University of St. Mary's Huskies 7-1 early in the second quarter in Halifax.
Now, when he gets a bad cough, I leave the room.
Honey.
For this, new Vicks maple syrup. It's different.
Honey.
There's no alcohol, no preservatives, no artificial colors, flavors. There's nothing in it I can't pronounce.
Honey!
It's all you want for coughs. Just menthol, a proven cough suppressant. And?
Honey.
Yes, honey. New Vicks maple syrup. For a rough, tough cough, it's one honey of a cough medicine.
I've got the honorary chairman of the Atlantic Bowl for this year, Angelo Santucci, who was on the only team that St. Mary's ever had to win the entire championship in '73. Angelo, with your CFL background, what do you think of the matchup?
I think it's a pretty good matchup. The game's wave. It hasn't been decided yet. I'm sure that if St. Mary's going to come on offensively, they might have some success.
What's the wind going to do in this game?
The wind will definitely play a factor, but usually on days like this, it'll probably calm down by the fourth quarter, so it might not be a factor at all.
Last time you were here was 19 years ago, only 4,000 people. What's the difference been in the Atlantic Bowl?
I think one of the reasons is just the hype, the excitement, the momentum that's been building for the last decade. Bill Robinson and his committee and all the volunteers that get together and just get the Atlantic Bowl going. It's actually it's a major sporting event now.
Thank you, Angie. All right, Angelo Santucci. That's it.
And the flag of Nova Scotia blowing proudly at Huskies Stadium in Halifax here this afternoon. Early in the second quarter, a penalty on the Huskies punt, and they'll re-kick it back now near the 45-yard line. So Sagan gets another chance with the breeze at his back. Low kick with the wind, and Blair, number 36 for the Dinosaurs, over to get it. And dropped by the first man upfield. David Houston in on the tackle, number 25.
So St. Mary's picks up some extra yardage there. Had that penalty not been called, the Calgary would have had much better field position. Good downfield tackle by David Houston, who also doubles as the starting right corner.
Dinosaurs first down just across the 25. Calgary leading 7-1 early in the second quarter. Number 20, Kittleson, gets the call one more time. He has been the only ball carrier for the Dinosaurs so far this afternoon.
And physically, that front four of St. Mary's is doing a pretty good job at the point of attack. They are standing up the offensive linemen of the Calgary Dinosaurs, and there really hasn't been a great deal of running room for Craig Kittleson so far.
11 carries for 25 yards for Kittleson so far this afternoon. 3 yards makes this 2nd and 7. Pass into the near side. Buchanan, the intended receiver, and he couldn't squeeze it. Pretty good pass by Jason Assen. Catchable football.
Yeah, that was a good throw into this breeze, and James Buchanan, who caught a big touchdown last week against UBC, really should have had it. Good pattern on David Houston. He breaks off a sharp out pattern, but you know, he had to go up high in the air, but I really think he took his eyes off it at the last second.
That brings Mark Common in, standing back at his 20. This will be his first punt into the breeze. Short kick taken at midfield and dropped. Loose ball. And I think the Huskies have it. Jeremy Stewart had problems with it. It'll be a Huskies first down with good field position. Out across the 45 at the 48-yard line. First and 10 Huskies from the 48. Anthony Williams, the ball carrier, number 33, his first carry of the day. He rushed for 119 yards over the season, averaging 4.4 yards a carry.
Anthony Williams.
He was met by Roger Reinson.
Second and 8.
David Sykes still looking for his first completion. It should be a little easier for him now going with the wind here in the second quarter. But I would think for a team that likes to have a balanced attack, this should be a concern of Bill Robinson, who you see to the right of Larry Utek. He is the offensive coordinator.
And he'll have the first down. Monge with some running room to the far side. Only one man can catch Sean Monge, and he'll go all the way. Sean Monge, a 60-yard touchdown, and the St. Mary's Huskies are right back in the game. All even now, 7-7.
Well, he waited a while to get his first completion, did David Sykes, but it wasn't a very long pass, but it turned into a 60-yard gain for Sean Monge. He gets the offensive line out in front, a perfectly executed screen pass, and then with his speed, he's able to get to the outside, and that's it. St. Mary's with their first touchdown of the afternoon.
A great run by Sean Monge. And that brings a little happiness to Huskies Stadium on the campus of St. Mary's University.
Well, offensively, they've had a pretty dismal first half until that play, so obviously the crowd here a little more encouraged now with that 60-yard pass and run by Sean Monge.
Mark De La Riva to try the point after, and it's good, so the Huskies are back in the lead at 8-7. Mark De La Riva, the son of Peter De La Riva, great receiver with the Montreal Alouettes and a former teammate of Larry Utek, the head coach at St. Mary's.
Let's go back and show you how a screenplay works. You know, you have to be good actors. You have to make these defensive linemen think that, hey, we got through, we beat the block, we're going to get some penetration. But watch, the three that guard in the center will sneak out here, Monge on the screen, and they've got the perfect wall set up. But let it run. You have to be good actors. Now, Calgary thinks they're getting penetration. Hey, they think they're going to get the sack. Now, all of a sudden, these guys are dead. Here come the three linemen, O'Donnell, Goddard, and Westwater. They get out there and form a perfect wall for Sean Monge. I mean, that is pretty. The perfect execution. Now, he's got a convoy in front of him. They get the couple of key blocks and good cut to the outside to get by Reinson, and that's all she wrote, 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah, it actually wasn't a very pretty pass. Monge barely held on to it, but it was a great run.
Didn't have to be a great pass. They invited the linemen upfield. They were perfect actors, and they executed the screen just like they draw it up on the board.
I just want to be with you. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Thanks, buddy.
Alex Westwater on the sidelines. 6 foot, 260-pound offensive lineman.
Yeah, that was, we were running a different one.
Ready for the Huskies kickoff with St. Mary's leading Calgary 8-7. Second quarter of the Atlantic Bowl at Huskies Stadium. Short kick. Picked up by Blair, and Blair has room down the sidelines. Number 36, Don Blair, gives the Dinosaurs instant field position with a great return. Watch this. He scoops
the
one hand.
Yeah, one-handed scoop by Don Blair. You know, I thought it was a pretty interesting kick by St. Mary's. They had a chance to recover it, but Don Blair there with a very alert play and pretty soft hands to be able to do that with one hand. And now Calgary finds himself with some pretty interesting field position.
Just inside the 50 of St. Mary's.
Cecil Curry, number 31, defensive back for the St. Mary's Huskies, is the injured player.
He's from Scarborough, out of Stephen Leacock High School, in his 5th year in the arts program here at St. Mary's. There's Jason Assen.
Final rankings a little interesting here for the CIAU. You see in the last few weeks they have changed dramatically. Bishops drops all the way to number 5 after They went down to defeat the Queens last week, and St. Mary's, the #1 team in the country. And I have to wonder if those rankings are a little misleading. I mean, when you talk about conferences, and I honestly believe like this might be the easiest conference to play down here in the Atlantic. But nevertheless, when you're undefeated, you deserve to be ranked #1.
Unbeaten through the regular season. St. Mary's Huskies. That was Craig Kittleson carrying for Calgary, and he ran right into Dwayne Brousseau, number 58. Brousseau also in his 5th year at St. Mary's, a native of Ottawa. Little or no gain for Kittleson.
Now, there hasn't been a lot of running room for Kittleson, and I think, as this game progresses, Calgary's going to find that they are going to have to throw the football to win this game. It doesn't look as though they're going to do it on the ground.
Frater and Buchanan are the wide receivers in this set. 2nd and 10. Pass into the far side. Frater was the intended receiver. Coverage supplied by Brian Walker.
Well, they didn't complete the pass, but it's the right thing to do for Jason Assen. You expect the blitz, go to the rollout, run away from it, and a pretty good pass pattern by their #1 receiver, Mike Frater. But Jason Assen, he's only in his 2nd year, and, rolling out, throwing on the run maybe is not his strong suit because he let that ball sail.
So that brings Mark Common back into the game.
Sonny, both offenses are doing some pretty good things. They're just not executing as well as they would like to. Their schemes seem to be pretty solid, but execution not quite there.
Gallagher on the return for St. Mary's. Met by John Kalin, number 18.
And
Kalin was the starting quarterback for the Dinosaurs as this season began, but he was injured and replaced by Jason Assen. St. Mary's in the lead by 1. It's the Atlantic Bowl from Halifax.
A guy who's a big boy, 6'7", Ted McLean, who was on for St. Mary's, describes Calgary as very, very quick. He says, compared to teams in our conference, not necessarily as tough, we're as good, but they are quick, especially the defensive ends.
All right, number 67, Ted McLean, 6'5", 267 pounds. In his 2nd year in the arts program, a native of Halifax and a graduate of Queen Elizabeth High School. Huskies are hemmed in their own zone at the 12-yard line. Worst field position they've had all afternoon. 1st and 10. Anthony Oxley, the big fullback. And he could go all the way. Good move by Oxley as he's dropped down at the 2-yard line. Finally cut from behind by Brian Baker. What a great run by Anthony Oxley. 93 yards. He's 5'11", 211 pounds.
And a good lead block by 55. Colin O'Donnell, the right guard, springs Oxley loose. So, on their last series, the big 60-yard touchdown run by Monge on the pass completion. Now Oxley with a good opening, the first opening that they've really had in the running game this afternoon. He takes advantage of it. And once again, St. Mary's has find themselves knocking at the door.
A 93-yard run. 1st and goal to go for the Huskies. Touchdown. Now, who was that ball carrier, Leaf? I think it's Brian Johnson, number 65. He is not listed as a running back.
Yeah, that's right.
The touchdown set up on the great run by Anthony Oxley. 65, Johnson carries it into the end zone. Number 65, and he's got another jersey over top.
I like the idea of bringing a lineman in, a big old horse in the backfield there. Give him the football, let him power his way into the end zone, and Pretty easy trip into the end zone for number 65, Brian Johnson. He just bounces off people and casts them aside, and he gets St. Mary's second touchdown of the afternoon. Watch he takes a hit here and just bounces off it like a little mosquito bite, and St. Mary's with their second touchdown. Oxley with the big play. Johnson caps it off.
And De La Riva goes after the single point. Back-to-back touchdowns for the St. Mary's Huskies. Mark De La Riva makes it 15-7.
Here's the man who made the run. Describe it for me. What was the call?
Well, it was a 46 quick trap, and the line made a big hole for me. You know, I just bursted down the sideline, and I'm not 100% yet, so the guy caught me from behind.
Did they say, hey, run 96 yards or what?
Yeah. I don't know how many yards it was, but as long as I help the team win, we still got a long way to go. I got to a bad start, and hopefully we could win this game, take it to Vandy Cup.
Thanks, Donnie.
All right.
All right, Anthony Oxley.
Okay, thank you, Alex J. And here's the trap that Oxley was talking about. Here's the guy they're going to trap, Roger Reinson. And it's going to be Colin O'Dowell coming out the guard. They get the good block in here from the slot back, Anthony Williams, and they create a tremendous hole for Oxley. Okay, there's the good block by Williams. Now the kick-out block on Reinson by the right guard, Colin O'Donnell, and Oxley does the rest. But that's it, 46, quick trap.
And the net result, a 93-yard run for Anthony Oxley to set up the second touchdown in a row for the St. Mary's Huskies. Ready now for the Huskies kickoff. We're halfway through the second quarter of the Atlantic Bowl. This is Blair. And there was no running room for Blair on the sidelines that time. Anthony Bailey forced him out, number 66.
Now there's Brian Johnson, who scored that touchdown. 6 foot, 225 pounds. A linebacker, a starting outside linebacker, and I'll bet you if you asked him, he'd say the most fun he has is when he gets to come in and play fullback. Well, there's the scoring drive, 97 yards, and a 1-yard touchdown run by Brian Johnson. Anthony Oxley, most of the work on that 3-play drive.
Injured Husky is Sean Marriott. He's down near the 40-yard line, and that's the reason for the delay. Marriott, a 6'3", 220-pounder from Cobourg, Ontario, in his second year at the arts program here.
All right, we've got Mike McCarthy, GM, Toronto Argonauts. Michael, your impressions, and who are you scouting?
Well, I'm here. I can't tell all the competitions.
Oh, come on, tell a few things.
There's a linebacker Pender there with Calgary, Goddard, lineman, the Mungie kid, the running back from St. Mary's, Kittleson, who was drafted by Calgary last year. You know, he led the nation in rushing, and he's a free agent unless Calgary protects him again. So, you know, it's a chance to get out and see a lot of these young guys that I don't get to do usually this time of year.
Give me your thoughts on the game.
It's getting interesting right now. He's standing over in the cold, waiting for something to happen.
Cold? This is not cold.
Yes,
what about the crowd?
That crowd is great. Isn't this fantastic? What, about 12,000 people here?
It's college ball in Atlantic Canada.
Hey, it's great. We need a CFL team here.
Hey, all right. Thanks, Mike.
Love it. Thanks a lot.
All right. GM of the Argos, Mike McCarthy, John and Leith.
On first down, Kittleson carries again for the Calgary Dinosaurs, and he was met by the middle linebacker, Alex Iliopoulos.
Well, the Dinosaurs see themselves fall behind now, 15-7. Jason Assen, I mean, it's a tough spot for him. He's going into that wind, and his running game has really not worked today at all, and he knows he's got to throw, and St. Mary's knows it too.
Assen facing 2nd and 8. Good fake, he puts it up, looking for Frater. And he couldn't hang on, didn't come down with the football. Covered by Brian Walker, number 27. Mike Frater.
And David Houston, number 25, came from all the way across from his corner position on the far side of the field to apply the finishing touches to Mike Frater and knock the ball loose. I thought Frater made a tremendous adjustment. The wind just killed that ball, and there you see 25 Houston all the way from the other side of the field. What tremendous speed he must have. But he plants the shoulder right on the football and knocks it loose.
Frater, an outstanding receiver, an All-Canadian in 1991, 666 yards receiving in 1992.
Well, sometimes you just have to tip your hat to the defense because Frater did everything he could to adjust perfectly to the ball. He had it in his hands, but when that shoulder drove through it, Houston was just able to use the raw force to knock it loose. That's good defense.
Another injury timeout. It's Scott Purdy, number 14. The injured Huskies, so the Huskies have run into a couple of injuries. And while we've got a timeout on the field, we'll take a timeout here at Husky Stadium with 7:08 to play till halftime. St. Mary's in front of Calgary, 15-7. Welcome back to Halifax and the Atlantic Bowl. St. Mary's Huskies leading the Calgary Dinosaurs 15-7. And it's a third down punting situation for Calgary, with Mark Common stepping across the 25 to get a kick away into the breeze. Stewart, far side, grabs a couple of yards before he's forced out by Ryan Williams, number 24.
Al St. Mary's has really hit their stride. Their last two series now, they've scored touchdowns. The Mongie pass and run, the Oxley long run capped off by Brian Johnson. Now once again Larry Utek's offense has tremendous field position starting at their own 52-yard line. You know, they've been patient here in this game, and finally some things are really starting to go their way.
Larry Utek has been to the Vanier Cup twice, and he has not won. He would certainly like to rectify that by beating Calgary here this afternoon and moving on to the Vanier Cup next Saturday at Skydome. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. The reverse, and this is Ash taking the handoff from Mongie. It'll go for a first down. Charles Ash finally stopped by Roger Reinson.
Probably the fastest player they have on offense is Charles Ash, and interestingly enough, he was born in Tampa, Florida, and heard about St. Mary's from a friend, Mike Kirkpatrick, that played here a few years ago, and he decided, hey, that's a school I'd like to go to, so he made the trip up here. He's a starting inside slot back, and with good speed, he is a threat on that end around.
St. Mary's with 6 first downs compared to 2 for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Mongie again. Caught from behind by Russell McWilliam, number 68.
St. Mary's doing a nice job now mixing their plays up. You know, you've got the screen that Mongie scored on. You've got the quick trap Oxley ran. Now you'd run a end around with Ash. Now another trap with Sean Mongie. I mean, they are a well-balanced offense, and they're really starting to throw the whole arsenal at the Calgary defense and keep them really off balance.
David Sykes looking at 2nd down and 7 now. Huskies inside the Calgary 45. Sykes to the near side. Dave Time, the tight end, couldn't hang on. He's from Brantford, Ontario, in his 3rd year in the arts program at St. Mary's.
St. Mary's lines up in a short yardage style offense. Here's Dave Time here. He's just going to fake the block and come out into the flat, and he is known more for his blocking, as you're going to see right here. He doesn't catch the ball too many times, and really this is a ball that should have been caught. That was a nice throw by David Sykes. Now, whether he could have picked up the first down or not, Jeremiah was bearing down on him, make that Brian Baker. But still the play action. I mean, it seems to be the style that St. Mary's and both Calgary like to go to.
On 3rd down, Dana Sagan again, stepping across midfield to get a kick away with the wind. And it rolls by Don Blair and into the end zone. And that'll go for another single point. So add one more single to the St. Mary's total. It's now 16-7. So what does Jason Assen have to do now, Leaf? Put it up a little bit more frequently, as you were talking about. 1 of 5 so far this afternoon.
Well, there's no question he has to put it up. I like the style when he went to the rollout, and if you recall, he threw a high pass to Frater on the out. But, I mean, scheme-wise, that's the type of offense I think he should be running. He just has to start completing some of those balls.
From the 35. Assen to the far side of the field. Blair made the catch. He's short of the first down. Caught almost immediately by Brian Walker, number 27.
Well, that's good, though. I mean, he has to try and establish some rhythm now. I mean, that's his second ball he's completed, so I think it's a pretty good idea, obviously, into the wind, too, to go to those short passes, get a few catches, get the receivers involved in the offense, and that's a good one. I mean, he only got about 4 or 5 on the play, but the good news is you complete one.
This is 2nd and 6. Just shy of the 40-yard line. Dinosaurs trailing 16-7. Assen looks to put it up again. Intended that for Cardone, Remo Cardone.
And Sean Marriott, number 45, who comes in passing situations as an extra linebacker, came in and absolutely hammered Jason Assen just as he wanted to throw the football. There you see coming at the top of your screen, Sean Marriott, 45, and they can't block him. Tony Bailey is right there, and you know what? Assen made a rookie mistake there. He shouldn't have thrown that ball. Sometimes, you know, discretion the better part of valor, and he really shouldn't have eaten it. He was lucky that thing wasn't picked off.
Mark Common has been busy this afternoon. Into the breeze again. Pretty good kick by Common. Stewart on the return for St. Mary's. This is Jeremy Stewart. Dragged down at the 41-yard line by Mike Nightingale, number 42. David Sykes has had a pretty good afternoon for the St. Mary's Huskies already.
Well, the one completion was a big one.
It certainly was.
60-yard pass and run touchdown to Sean Monge. He has struggled very similar to Jason Assen, but it hasn't really mattered because they have been able to run the football.
Well, they moved the ball. He hasn't made a lot of completions so far. But he has the lead at 16-7. Anthony Oxley, number 22, the fullback, carrying. Roger Reinson in on the stop. Later this afternoon, the Churchill Bowl. Guelph and Queens from Sky Dome. And we'll check in on that story at halftime with Paul Romanek. 1 week to the Vanier Cup. 4 teams with a shot. Charles Ash, number 11, flanks to the near side. Monge. And he's short of the first down by about a yard. He ran into Chris Conrad, number 56. Conrad is a Metras Trophy nominee, 10 sacks on the season.
The numbers on the ground for Sean Monge, 8 carries, 51 yards. Pretty good average there, a little over 6 yards a carry. The big play for him, of course, the 1 pass reception. So at 3rd and 2, Larry Utek not taking any chances with the wind at his back. This game has been a game of field position. Every time one of the teams has had the ball least at midfield, they've had some success offensively. So that's the key, trying to keep Calgary pinned back.
Turnover goes to the Calgary Dinosaurs.
And just as I say that, they try a fake punt. There was the direct snap to number 45, Sean Marriott.
And Patrick Hardy came up with the recovery. He's a native of Wetaskiwin, Alberta.
You know, I'm surprised at that call. Pretty gutsy call by Larry Utek. But, you know, you have everything going your way, and then you have a foul up like this. I mean, I don't like the call. I mean, you're leading. You have full control of the game. Now you've let Calgary back into it with a lousy play.
1st and 10 for the Dinosaurs. Assen looks deep for Blair, and Blair couldn't bring it in that time. Tried to one-hand it.
Why in the world did he try and one-hand it? I mean, that was a perfectly thrown ball into the wind. I mean, Aston could not throw a better ball. These are difficult conditions to throw in, and he put it right on the money. And why in the world Blair chose to use one hand, I don't know.
Maybe a better look here. He had a chance to get...
Well, you know what? It sailed on him just at the last second a little bit there. And boy, would that have been nice for Calgary to take advantage. They get the turnover and had a receiver in behind the coverage.
2nd and 10. Dinosaurs at the Husky 41. Pass into the near side, away from one tackler, throwing on the run. He has James Buchanan. Buchanan turns and should have a first down. He does now as Buchanan fights his way.
That's a scrum downfield there.
Looked a little like rugby, didn't it? David Houston made the tackle finally on Buchanan.
And James Buchanan made a super effort. Once Aston broke contain there, now the fun starts. Originally Buchanan was running an out, but now he sees his quarterback in trouble. He cuts back to the inside, finds an open area, creates a good target for Aston to find, and that's a nice play by James Buchanan.
Yeah, he picked up another 11 yards after he was slowed down by the Husky defense.
Well, the receivers that can adjust their patterns on the run, I mean, they're going to catch a lot of balls.
From the 20, first down. Kittleson got the call, number 20.
Boy, if Calgary goes on to get a touchdown or at least a field goal, you know, you look at certain points in the game and how they change the flow or the outcome, and boy, undoubtedly, we might look back at that fake punt that miscued and let Calgary get back into this one.
Okay, Leafoot, you said certainly the play that you basically challenged has certainly put a lot of life right here on the Calgary bench. They feel they can do something with it.
Well, they've let them back in it.
2nd and 5, Dinosaurs just outside the 15. The pitch to Kittleson, and he slipped. Cecil Curry fell on top of Kittleson as he slipped trying to turn the corner.
It's unfortunate for Kittleson. That's one of the few times this afternoon that he had the two guards out in front. The blocking was set. He had room to cut back there and just simply slipped and fell down. We mentioned earlier a lot of rain here yesterday, and although it's windy and sunny, the field is still pretty damp.
A minute 25 till halftime. The injured player is Cecil Curry from Scarborough, out of Stephen Leacock High School. Your old school Northern takes on West Hill on the road to the Metro Bowl. What do you think of your Northern's chances this year?
Well, I think they're pretty good. They beat Central Tech, their rivals, the TSSAA, to advance to the Metro Bowl. I know you've got a special interest in Markham. Is it the Marauders?
The Markham Marauders.
Yeah, they're in it too.
Going against St. Thomas in the semifinals of the Metro Bowl in Toronto. The ace statistician of the Markham Marauders phoned me yesterday to give me the score, Allie Wells. Outstanding player awards for Noranda coming your way on TSN at 7:30 on Thursday, all part of Vanier Cup Celebration Week in Toronto. Join Gord Miller for that. And there's our office in Halifax, TSN headquarters. Right close to the Pepsi machine.
Roger Ensign. Okay, I've got Roger Ensign. Just give me the field conditions out there. It was a mud hole or a lot of water yesterday.
Oh yeah, when we came out here on Friday, we had a practice. It was like a monsoon, so it's pretty wet, but it's pretty good turf. So I mean, you know, there's a few slips, but it's all right.
What about the quick lateral moves?
That's where you're talking about slipping. So you got to keep your body over top of your feet and you know, keep the center of gravity. Ooh, I sound pretty technical. Eh?
What about the game? You surprised?
No, they got a big offensive line. They got some quick players. That's what we expected. You know, we got a good game going on here.
All right. Were you surprised at the fake punt?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm glad they did it, but I mean, yeah, I was a little surprised because that put us in field goal range. You know, we got the wind. I think it's a dumb move, but oh well, they did it.
Right. Okay. All right, there's Roger again on the footwear. Now back to the booth.
Yeah, let's go back one more time at that fake punt, and there you see the bad snap to Sean Marriott, and They allow Calgary to get back into this one. Bruce Parsons now will try and get them a little closer with his field goal attempt.
He was 6 for 6 last week against UBC. Definitely in range here. Bruce Parsons' field goal is good. 27-yard field goal, and it's a 6-point ball game. 16-10, St. Mary's lead.
So the Dinosaurs capitalize on the turnover by the St. Mary's Huskies. They get 3 points with the Bruce Parsons field goal, and you know that always gives your team a lift. You get the turnover, you want to take advantage of it, and the Calgary Dinosaurs were able to do so. Roger Reinson was pretty frank about it. He said, I thought it was a dumb call.
Yeah. Well, he agreed with you.
I liked it.
It cost Larry Utek 3 points. It could have been worse, I suppose. Dinosaurs were looking at 2nd and 5 when Kittleson slipped. 1st and 10. Huskies now. Sykes has a man wide open and overthrew Anthony Williams, number 33. Closing in on the final minute of the opening half at the Atlantic Bowl in Halifax. On the campus of St. Mary's University, founded in 1802, 8,000 full and part-time students call this university home. Affectionately known as SMOO, St. Mary's University.
Boy, does that tell a story. A couple of big plays by St. Mary's contributed to most of that yardage.
Near side, Sykes has his tight end Dave Time well short of the first down. El Sager made the tackle.
That's okay. These guys are intense. There's a lot on the line today. A trip to the Vanier Cup. Emotions are going to be a little high, but David Sykes wants to get it downfield a little farther. The coverage won't let him, and so he has to go underneath to Dave Time. It was a good read by Sykes. Then he has to hope that Time can catch it and pick up the first down. He couldn't, but you know, when you have a lead and you're the quarterback with the lead, sometimes you have to just bite the bullet and throw underneath the coverage and not force it in there. I thought, although Sykes didn't get the first down, it was a smart decision.
1 minute, 1 second to go till halftime in the Atlantic Bowl, with St. Mary's leading the way 16-10. Third down punting situation for the Huskies. Sagan is in, and Blair and Buchanan are deep for Calgary. Taking a little bit of time getting this third down punt underway. Wasting a few seconds off the clock, and Blair on the return, number 36 for Calgary. Blair stepping out at the 50-yard line of the Dinosaurs. 26-yard punt. There's a penalty marker down back behind the line of scrimmage.
Colin Newman, number 7, came very close to blocking this, and somebody gave the kicker a good shot in the chin, and I'm wondering if it's going to be roughing.
John Kalin was in on top of the kicker, Dana Sagan.
Number 51, David
Lineweber.
Lineweber, yeah.
51 seconds till halftime as they sort out the penalty infraction here.
Interference on the kicker. Calgary, first down.
Referee this afternoon is Ray Muir. So at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Dinosaurs. Jason Assen tries to get something going in the dying seconds of the opening half. He's got a minute to work with, just under a minute, 51 seconds remaining. Buchanan to the near side, Mike Frater flanked to the far side of the field. Kittleson gets the call. And he's close to a first down out across the 45. Alex.
All right, I've got Bruce Parsons, 6 last week, 1. Do you ever miss, Mr. Parsons?
Oh, I don't know. We'll talk to you later about that.
Tell me about the wind.
The wind is a factor right now. It's kind of hard to play what's going on, but I got to get going. I got to go warm up. Okay? Thank you very much.
All right. He's got 7 in a row, and he has not missed so far.
Blair made the catch, number 36 for the Dinosaurs.
What a great catch. Another one-hander. I mean, this is obviously his forte. Make those one-handed grabs, and boy, is that pretty. Right in between number 27, Brian Walker, number 44, the middle linebacker. That was beautiful.
The intended receiver fell down. Brian Williams, number 24.
Well, the effects of the wet field again. Just as he made his cut, he slipped down. And, of course, as a quarterback, you anticipate that he won't fall down. Assen let it fly. Unfortunately, it wasn't picked off.
A breezy afternoon in Nova Scotia into the final 33 seconds now, the opening half. 2nd and 10 for the Dinosaurs, trailing St. Mary's University Huskies 16-10.
This is a big play for Assen. If he can pick up a first down the way Parsons is kicking, I mean, they have a shot at a field goal.
Assen stands in, looks for Frater. He makes the catch. And the Dinosaurs are suddenly in field goal range. Are they ruling it a catch or no catch?
Well, they must rule. It's very difficult just to let you folks at home know from our vantage point across the field to see what happened. But it looked initially, though, that he made the catch as he tries to get in behind Brian Walker. But obviously he trapped the football and they bring it back. And that, of course, will force Calgary into a punting situation. Let's see if we can have a peek there.
Jeez, I thought he had it. Anyway, no catch is the ruling. And all of a sudden, Dinosaurs facing 3rd down and a punting situation for Mark Common with 26 seconds to go to the half. Gallagher on the return, number 73, and he gets a good one. Finally dragged down around midfield by Remo Cardone, number 37. Just 11 seconds to go. Good return here.
St. Mary's has had some big plays, and really that is the difference in this first half. They have made some big plays, whereas the Calgary Dinosaurs just haven't yet.
Kent Gallagher in his 2nd year. Commerce student. He's from Cornwall, Ontario originally. Time is all but expired here as Mongi gets the call. 6 seconds remaining now. Timeout called by the St. Mary's Huskies. Huskies have 11 Atlantic Conference All-Stars on this squad.
Well, Larry Utek's done a tremendous job in his 11 years here in Halifax, and to be able to win the conference title 5 times out of the last 6 years, what an accomplishment that was.
Talked about their defense in the opening, Leaf allowing just 70 points over the season. Pretty solid guy in the middle when you look at the middle linebacker, number 44, Alex Iliopoulos, a nominee for Outstanding Player Award. .5'11", 240 pounds in his 3rd year in the arts program. Streetsville High School in Mississauga. So this should be the last play of the opening half with the Huskies leading 16-10. Just 6 seconds on the clock. Time count violation.
How do you take a timeout and then get a time count violation. You answer me that one. That's beautiful.
No, it's third down. Punt the ball, let's go, punt.
So they lose the down, and really, that's a break for Calgary because obviously St. Mary's could have run out the clock. Now Calgary gets an opportunity in a punting situation to either get a return or maybe go for the block. So a bit of a costly error for St. Mary's right there, and Calgary gets a break.
Buchanan and Blair are back for Calgary. Sagan will punt from his 35. Chance at the block. This is Blair. No, hang on. It's Buchanan taking it. Now it's Blair taking it. Colin Newman got through number 7 and had a shot at blocking the punt by Sagan, but didn't quite get there. And that'll be it for the opening half of the Atlantic Bowl. St. Mary's in front by 6. Alex?
Okay, we've got Larry Utek. 2 questions. Coach, reaction on the first half.
Well, I was a little displeased with our offense getting off to a slow start, but we seem to have got a handle on things, and hopefully we can move the ball a little better in the second half.
What about the fake punt?
Well, it wasn't a great snap, and I'm kind of disappointed with myself for calling it that time. I gave them 3 points.
How about their offense?
Their offense is I would not underrate it. Yeah, we've had a good job defensively on them, but they've a running back who can break it open at any moment. And they've had a couple long passes just barely dropped.
You told me this week you've had good practice on Grant Keeney. Is that practice bearing out on Kittleson?
I think it's helped us a lot. Our defense has done a super job all year, and hopefully it can continue.
Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, back to you.
St. Mary's in the lead. It's halftime at the Atlantic Bowl, and the St. Mary's Huskies lead the Calgary Dinosaurs 16-10.
Are you still living with this nightmare? Over 1 million motorists have said never again. They've switched to Triple Edge, and the difference is amazing. Triple Edge is the world's first high-tech windshield wiper. It clears, it cleans, it wipes dry, all in a single pass. But that's not all. Triple Edge wipers won't tear, dry rot, or freeze to your windshield. They're made from DuPont Nordell, the same material used in 50,000-mile radial tires. Triple Edge gives you visibility through the heaviest downpour. It whisks away snow and ice. Even mud is no match for Triple Edge.
The day after I got my Triple Edge wipers, we had a big snowstorm with blowing sleet and wind. Everybody had trouble seeing except me. My visibility was beautiful.
No noise, no streaking, no smearing, no tearing. Custom fit to install in seconds. They're the last windshield wipers you'll ever buy. Triple Edge is available at participating Woolco, London Drugs, Home Hardware, Overweighty and Save On Foods, Beaver Lumber, and Kmart.
Now, McCain brings you French fries, the next generation. McCain Golden Crisp. The natural taste of fresh Canada No. 1 potatoes, locked in with a delicate crispy coating. So when you crunch through that crispy coating, you'll taste the best fries that ever came out of an oven. McCain Golden Crisp. The best fries that ever came out of an oven.
We are at the half, and in the Atlantic Bowl, it is St. Mary's leading the Calgary Dinosaurs. By much vaunted St. Mary's defense in the first half of that game. Was it rearing its head much, do you think?
Well, I think defensively St. Mary's gave up a couple of big plays, but overall it didn't. The defense didn't break down completely, and of course the Huskies do have the lead.
I thought the Huskies did a great job shutting down Craig Kittleson. I mean, here's the nation's leading rusher coming in here, Paul, and for the most part, he really has done nothing in the first half. Let's say Mary's defensively did a great job.
Let's take a look at some highlights from the opening half here. Rather exciting half, and it was highlighted by big plays. First to Calgary.
Well, Jason Assen opened the scoring on a play-action pass to Dave Evans down on the goal line. It froze the entire St. Mary's defense, and Calgary got off to a good start, 7-1 at that point.
St. Mary's countered and took the lead one more time shortly after that, with David Sykes combining with Sean Monge.
Well, you do not draw up the screenplay any better than St. Mary's executes it right here. The Calgary Dinosaurs front four were invited upfield, and a screen dump to Monge. couple of good blocks at the point of attack, and then it's all speed and desire as Sean Monge is able to take it 60 yards down the sideline on the screenplay for their opening touchdown. But for St. Mary's in the first half, it's been a big play kind of half.
Yeah, very efficient and quick scoring drive there, 62 yards with the one big play. Then another big play. Anthony Oxley takes it 93 yards.
On 46, quick trap, he told us on the sidelines. A beautiful hole opens up for him. And last week he had 180 against Mount A. Here, 93 yards. And just the monkey jumped on his back there. He couldn't quite get in the end zone. Calgary caught him from behind. But nevertheless, the second big play in the half for their offense.
And then they went to the big guy, Brian Johnson, a 2-yard plunge. He's a tackle, isn't he?
He's a linebacker, 6 foot, 225 pounds, and probably the most fun he's had all afternoon is to carry that ball, blast his way into the end zone. So once again, a quick drive, only 3 plays to go, 97 yards, and St. Mary's with the big plays has the lead.
Yeah, add in a Bruce Parsons field goal, and that's the score at halftime. 16-10, the Huskies leading the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. And we'll be back to the Atlantic Bowl in Halifax for the second half kickoff in just a moment.
Boy, they are going to be a brutal competitor for us.
We bought them out last month.
I just bought 1,000 of their Class A shares.
I guess you're not worried about that lawsuit in the UK, huh?
Lawsuit?
Business bloopers are embarrassing, especially when they happen to you. And that's why you need the Financial Post, because it delivers the news that helps you to stay informed, to stay ahead. Call this number now. And with your new subscription, you'll receive this personal office stereo with AM/FM clock radio and separate speakers. And ask about our free 4-week introductory offer. Every day, our top-notch editorial staff gathers the essential business and investment news from our bureaus across Canada, in New York, Washington, London, Hong Kong, and 35 affiliates worldwide. You get the information you need in a compact, easy-to-read format. Domestic and international business news, RSP and personal money advice, helpful economic trends, insightful comment and opinion. And every week we wrap up with the revamped Financial Post Weekend Edition, the definitive summary of the week's events, major features, in-depth analysis, the most comprehensive review of the major markets. Relax with the new Weekend Arts and Leisure section, and sports like never before. So call now and receive Canada's #1 business paper, plus the Financial Post magazine, the monthly that brings you the people and events behind the news.
I just read that fund isn't performing well.
Oh, great. I just moved my retirement savings there.
Stay informed and stay ahead. Call this number now for your subscription to the Financial Post. With your paid subscription to the Financial Post, you'll receive this personal office stereo. Call toll-free 1-800-387-8034. That's 1-800-387-8034. Ask for the extension number on your screen and ask about our free 4-week introductory offer.
Quick look at the halftime stats. St. Mary's leading the ball game and leading in the rushing department, likely the key statistic of the opening half as far as St. Mary's is concerned. St. Mary's out in front of the University of Calgary 16-10 as we get ready for the second half kickoff here at Huskies Stadium on the campus of St. Mary's University in Halifax. Just a terrific day for football, a bit of a breeze, but overall it is a rather comfortable afternoon considering the late stages of the season as we wrap up the football season in Atlantic Canada with the Atlantic Bowl to decide one of the teams that will be at the Vanier Cup next Saturday afternoon at Skydome to take on either Guelph or Queens. We play in the Churchill Bowl later this afternoon on TSN, so stay with us for the second half of our CIAU doubleheader, beginning in Halifax and switching to Toronto later this afternoon. Great crowd on hand here at St. Mary's and a full house enjoying the exploits of the Huskies in the first half. We talked about big plays, and that's really the difference in the ball game, Leaf.
Well, it was, John. A couple, you know, Oxley 93-yard run, Monge a 60-yard reception and run, and we take those 2 plays away, it's a pretty even first half. But I think Calgary, the key, you know, you look at what does a team have to do to get back in the game, and quite frankly, Kittleson has been shut down. That has been demoralizing for them, obviously. But Jason Aston is going to have to come out and complete some passes. He doesn't have to throw long, just some ball control type passes, the hitches, the little hooks, maybe a slant here or there, and you know, that's the way he will get himself back into this game.
Larry Utek has high praise for his counterpart Peter Connellan as a football mind who is able to make substantial adjustments after he finds something is not working, and perhaps it's the running of Kittleson they'll adjust for here in the second half.
Well, it will be interesting to see if they can create some holes for Kittleson. I think it's going to be tough, though, because St. Mary's really challenges you with 7 and 8 people at the line of scrimmage to try and shut down your running game. So, you know, it's the old adage, you have to do what the defense sometimes dictates, and I think the defense of St. Mary's is saying to Calgary, you're going to beat us. If you're going to beat us, it's going to be through the air.
Jason Assen completed 40 of 85 passes for 600 yards during the regular season. But he only played the final 4 games for the Dinosaurs as the starting quarterback. So those numbers might be a little bit deceiving. They have high regard for Anson's ability to throw the football. Of course, the wind being a bit of a factor here this afternoon. It will favor the Dinosaurs in the second half.
And I think what's a factor, too, is the crowd here. I mean, you're talking 10,000 people that aren't exactly cheering for you when you're Calgary coming in here. So, I mean, this is a difficult place for them to play.
Ready for the second half kickoff. Bruce Parsons has it teed up and ready to go. The wind looks like it might have died down a little bit here, if that Nova Scotia flag is our indication. Second half is underway. Jeremy Stewart watches it roll out of bounds, so they'll do it all over again. Talked about Parsons having such a great week last week against UBC, 6 for 6, and he accounted for the victory over the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds.
I loved when Alex J. Walling, our sideline host this afternoon, talked with Parsons on the sidelines just before the end of the second quarter, rather, and he said, "You're 7 for 7. Do you ever miss?" He didn't want to answer that question.
No, he didn't. A little superstitious.
Yeah. The kickers are a different breed. That's the last thing that would be in his mind right now.
We'll try it again. And the ball rolled off the tee once more, so Parsons is over to set it up. A little bit of difficulty getting the second half of the Atlantic Bowl underway. And it's out of bounds one more time. He can kick field goals with the best of them. He's having a little problem getting this kickoff to stay in bounds. Calgary Dinosaurs last won the Vanier Cup in 1988. Peter Connellan has had a great run at it, winning it in 1983, 85, and 88. We talked about it earlier. The victory in 88 was over St. Mary's. Gallagher on the return, and he's dropped by Sean Latter, number 23. Here are the numbers on David Sykes from the first half. 2 of 9, 65 yards, and 1 touchdown. 1 big play.
And I can dissect that a little further. Then one of those passes was for 60 yards, the other one for 5. So, but the good news for David Sykes, it wasn't a great first half. The numbers reflect that, but his team made the big plays. And of course, in the key games, that's usually what will decide the outcome. He has a 6-point lead as he begins the third quarter.
16-10, St. Mary's in the lead on the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. There's an injured Husky out there, Brad Chalmers, number 50. David Sykes in his second year of commerce from Queen Elizabeth High School in Halifax. They're still attending to Brad Chalmers, 6'3", 270-pounder from Brantford, Ontario. He went to North Park Collegiate.
Yeah, he's the starting left tackle too, so number 54, Chris Goddard, moves out to the tackle spot, and then in place of Chalmers.
Oxley lost the ball. Gain will be 5 yards.
Well, let's see if he was down when the ball comes loose. This is going to be an interesting call. Oxley carrying it, and well, the knee is down. I mean, technically, it's not a fumble.
2nd down and 5 to go. Huskies just shy of the St. Mary's 40-yard line. Mongi got the call that time, number 20, and he looks to be short of the 1st down.
And that's what St. Mary's felt like they could do at the onset of this game with their big offensive line, would be to dominate Calgary. Just was straight ahead, man-to-man blocking, but Calgary tightened it down that time, and they hold Mongi short of the 1st down. So defensively, a good opening series here in the 2nd half for Calgary. I mean, you want to come out and establish yourself quickly. You're trailed by 6. You want to get the ball back for your offense, and that's a good sign for Calgary. They're able to do it quickly.
Sagan standing back near his 25-yard line, averaging 37 yards a punt. Low snap. He got it away. Penalty marker is down. Buchanan takes it on the 1st bounce. And he's out across the 45 to about the 47-yard line.
To the 47. There's a flag.
Check the infraction here. 26 yards the punt. So the penalty goes against the Dinosaurs.
Number 23, Calgary. 1st down.
Sean Latter, number 23.
1st and 10, Calgary on their own 33.
So back to the 33-yard line now for a 1st down for the Dinosaurs. With Mike Frater to the near side, James Buchanan flanks to the far side of the field. Hassan handing off to Cardoni, Remo Cardoni. That's his 1st carry of the day.
It's an influence type play where Kittleson pretends he's getting the pitch out to the outside. They try and fool Iliopoulos, the middle linebacker, but they don't fool him at all as Cardoni carries the ball for the 1st time this afternoon, and the St. Mary's defense stuffs him pretty quickly.
Call it a gain of 3. This will be 2nd and 7. Another injured player, and it is Cardoni, the fullback. Injured on his 1st carry of the afternoon. He's used primarily as a blocking back for Craig Kittleson. Hassan was over at the bench to confer with Peter Cannellan while the injury timeout was taking place.
See, that's tough. You know, the 4 completions is not good, but for only 44 yards in a half of football, I mean, I know the wind's a problem, and he had a couple of close ones that weren't caught, but, you know, he's going to have a better 2nd half personally if he wants to go to the Vanier Cup next week.
David Evans, number 38, comes in for Cardoni. He'll be the fullback in the Dinosaur backfield. Good fake by Hassan this time. Looking for Frater. He's got him wide open. It's a 1st down and yards to spare. He's all the way down to the 36-yard line. Brian Walker made the tackle, number 27 for the Huskies.
And he's the big gunner in their offensive scheme as a receiver, and the play action does it. He's working on number 27, Brian Walker. You see Walker, he thinks the ball's being handed off to Kittleson. So the good play action fake works. They fool the secondary, and Frater comes up with a nice catch. There it is. Hey, he puts the ball right into Kittleson. That's a good acting job and a nice completion by Jason Assen.
1st and 10 for the Dinosaurs, and Kittleson gets the call here. He's across the 35. Gregory Foran leading the Husky tacklers, number 60.
Peter Cannellan would like Kittleson to carry the ball 25 to 30 times a game, only 17 to this point. And, you know, I mean, that's in a perfect world. That's what he would like to do. But this game, he will not get to 30, I don't believe, the way things are going. Assen's going to have to throw the ball more.
Kittleson picked up 2. This is 2nd and 8 for the Dinosaurs. Kittleson gets the call again. Better yardage this time, but it looks like he's still short of the first down.
That shows you the confidence they do have in their running game on 2nd and 8 when they will just use a quick hitter up the middle and try and pick it up. They're awfully close to that first down.
About a yard to go. 16 to 10, St. Mary's leading Calgary. The second half just nicely underway at Husky Stadium. Frater comes to the near side. Buchanan is the flanker wide receiver, far side of the field. On 3rd and 1, Assen himself, and it looks like he'll have the first down.
It's been a nice start to the second half for Calgary. Good defensive series to get the ball back for their offense quickly. And now Assen with the picking up the second first down in this drive. A good pass play to Mike Frater, and now a couple of running plays, and they keep this march going.
First and 10, Calgary at the Huskies' 26-yard line. Play action again. Assen looks deep. Blair was the intended receiver. Good coverage by Brian Walker, number 27, coming over at the last possible moment.
And Brian Walker really redeems himself for getting fooled on the earlier pass completion to Mike Frater. The play action once again looking for Don Blair on the home run, but Walker leaves Frater, leaves his man, and comes over and really bails out one of his buddies because Don Blair was left wide open. But Walker, with the good reaction, comes over and breaks up the pass play.
It'll be 2nd and 10.
I mean, that's great anticipation by a corner. Leave your man and go and make a play somewhere else.
An impressive drive in 6 plays by the Dinosaurs, facing 2nd and 10 now. Assen stands in and throws, and he one-hopped it. Frater was the intended receiver, but Walker was again in the area, number 27.
Well, you know, if you're a quarterback and you want to throw that kind of pattern where he's rolling one way and he throws the throwback to Frater all the way across the field, I mean, you better have a cannon for an arm. And that ball comes up about 10 yards short. I mean, that's tough to roll one way and then come back all the way across the field. The pressure was coming, and Jason Assen, I just don't think has a strong enough arm to do that.
Bruce Parsons 1 for 1 on the afternoon. He's wide on this one.
Is wide.
And it goes for a single, conceded by Trevor Burke. (16-11), St. Mary's leading the Calgary Dinosaurs. We'll continue with the Atlantic Bowl from Halifax in a moment.
Rocket Fuel.
Play Rocket Fuel Touchdown, and you could win up to $25,000.
Welcome back to the Atlantic Bowl at Huskies Stadium in Halifax. Pretty good ball game going this afternoon. 5 points separating St. Mary's and Calgary. And let's bring in our friendly maritime host, Alex J. Walling. Where have you been, Alex?
John, you know, normally there's 2,000 or 3,000 here. I've been to the washroom. There have been hundreds and hundreds in the lineup, and that's all I've been able to do at halftime.
They brought in the porta potties for this one.
I said I knew John and Leaf, and that still didn't get me ahead in the lineup.
Well, a full house at Husky Stadium this afternoon, an enthusiastic crowd. St. Mary's trying to get to the Vanier Cup for the first time since 1988. Huskies are 1st and 10. Beginning at the 35, Mongi, the ball carrier. Number 20, Sean Mongi. Eleven carries, 57 yards for Mongi on the afternoon. Just 1 yard on that, 2nd and 9. Facing the Huskies and quarterback David Sykes now.
And this is the situation that Calgary wants to keep St. Mary's in this second half. 2nd and long. Force Sykes to throw the football. He's only completed 2 passes.
Sykes from the shotgun. Comes to his left. And look for Williams, number 33. That's Anthony Williams. Peter Florence was covering on Williams.
These were the numbers on the receiving corps throughout the course of the season for St. Mary's. You see Sardi as their number 1 receiver with 38 catches, but he's been pretty silent this afternoon. He has not caught a pass as yet, and that time David Sykes was looking to his direction. He just couldn't get open, so Sykes decided to throw down over the middle, incomplete. But you know, Sardi, I mean, that's tough when your best receiver's not getting open on a day. You know, they don't have a lot of plan B stuff that they can go to.
Not a deep kick for Sagan this time. Buchanan watches it roll out near the 50, so the Dinosaurs will have great field position here. A 25-yard punt for Sagan that time.
It's a great weekend in Canadian University football, isn't it? We get the game here at St. Mary's, a wonderful crowd here of 10,000 plus, and of course the second half of our doubleheader coming up later on today. Guelph and Queens from the Sky Dome.
Battling for the Churchill Bowl there this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a great afternoon for university sports.
Today's winners, of course, getting the free trip to the Vanier Cup next Saturday at Sky Dome. Hassan in trouble, and he's down. Brian Johnson got there first, and then got a little help from the middle linebacker, Alex Iliopoulos.
So Brian Johnson having a pretty nice day. He got to score a touchdown on offense, and now coming on the blitz, he's able to get to Jason Hassan. And you know, St. Mary's knows this too. They've shut down the running game, so they're anticipating Calgary to throw a little more in this second half. They decide to come with the blitz, and they get their first sack.
A loss of 11 yards, 2nd and 21. Facing the Dinosaurs and quarterback Jason Hassan now. Remo Cardone, the fullback, injured earlier, is okay. He got the carry, but he's well short of the first down. Greg Foran leading the tacklers.
I think this was a good call by Jason Hassan. You know, he knows they're all coming with the blitz. Here comes Iliopoulos right up the middle. Somehow, if you're able to find a crack, you can get a big gainer on the draw play. But number 60, Greg Foran, with good reaction from his defensive tackle spot to make the play. But, you know, that's not really bailing out. You trail by 5 points, and it's still early in the second half. I don't think you want to give up any chances for interceptions. Sometimes you bite the bullet. That was good.
Stay tuned following the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you this afternoon by Apple Auto Glass.
Some things in life are perfectly clear. Repairing your windshield instead of replacing it makes sense. An unrepaired windshield becomes 50 pounds of unrecyclable garbage. Let Apple repair that stone chip and do your part for the environment.
Apple Auto Glass.
Another injured ball player for the Huskies, number 14, Scott Purdy, shaken up on that last play. He's a backup linebacker.
Yeah, he comes in on a lot of second and long passing situations. Of course, that time he was in.
Third down for the Dinosaurs. And a punting situation once more for Mark Common. St. Mary's leading 16-11. Common gets a low kick away with the breeze. Bouncing for Gallagher. Number 73, Gallagher looking for room to the outside, and he's dragged down from behind. Caught there by Ryan Williams. 40-yard punt that time. And a decent return sets the Huskies up with all right field position. They lead the Calgary Dinosaurs 16-11. This is the Atlantic Bowl, live from Halifax. Welcome back to Halifax and the Atlantic Bowl. St. Mary's leading the University of Calgary 16-11. Lots of time remaining, 7:26 to play, third quarter. And the Huskies will try and get something going with David Sykes at quarterback. Sykes looking to throw. Williams is the intended receiver. He bumped into one of the defenders and went down. There is no call on the play. Peter Florence was covering.
Well, I think the referee said, hey, you know, Anthony Williams wasn't going to be able to catch this football because there's no question there was contact to the left of your screen. Number 34, Peter Florence, the middle safety, hits him, and boy, I don't know. I think that was interference. That should be called. I mean, they maybe think Williams couldn't have got to the football, but with the way the wind's swirling and doing funny things, you never know.
You would have thrown a flag.
I think I would have there, sure.
2nd and 10, Huskies. Huskies from the 27. Sykes dumping it off for Oxley. Oxley has a first down and lots to spare. He's all the way to the 50-yard line. Big play guy, Anthony Oxley. Alex.
Okay, Pat Hardy, Calgary Dinosaurs. Pat, mood, and what did you talk about at halftime?
Halftime, basically we were a little flat, I think, in the first half. Second half, we're definitely going to pump it up, make some big hits like we did early in the game, and we're very confident.
Is the whole game going to center around big plays?
I don't think so. We've done very well in big plays on offense and defense, but we're really going to strive to march the ball.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Pat. All right, back to Leaf and John.
Huskies picked up 22 yards on that play, and Monge gets the call, number 20. He's halfway to a first down. 22 yards for Anthony Oxley, who's been a big play guy for the Huskies this afternoon.
St. Mary's has done a nice job here in the second half on second down conversions. You know, they have not been getting good first down production. That plays into the hands of the Calgary Dinosaurs, but give St. Mary's credit offensively. They have made big plays on second downs to keep their drives moving.
Gain is actually marked at 3. This is 2nd and 7 for the Huskies. Sykes is intercepted. No, hang on, he didn't quite bring it in. The intended receiver was Sardi. And Mohamed Elsinger had a shot at it.
Well, you know, he's really must have watched some film on Sardi, because as Sardi breaks for the quick slant, Elsinger is right there on top of him. In fact, it looked as though he might have picked it off, but he just couldn't hang on to it. But Sardi seems to be a little out of his rhythm. I mean, he's not running, I'm sure, as fast as he can right there. He looks like he didn't get involved early in this game, and he's having trouble getting into it.
12th punt of the afternoon for Dana Sagan. Standing back at his 39. Bouncing for Don Blair, and there's not much running room for Blair. Leading the way in tackles, that time Chris Goddard, number 54. Goddard's father is one of the coaches on the Huskies. Dinosaurs will begin this drive just outside the 25-yard line at the 27. Schrader to the near side. James Buchanan flanks to the far side of the field, top of your screen. Assen lost the ball on first down, and Cordoni was there to recover at number 37. Costly miscue.
And really,
loss of about 4.
That really is. The last time they had the ball in their own territory here, they got into the same kind of problems with second and long. Now, again, a mishandled snap from center, and they're going to be in about a 2nd and 16 situation. And against St. Mary's defense, for the most part, that's played tough today, this is not a good place to be for Jason Assen.
Second down and 15. Assen stands in, and he's decked from behind. The big guy, Tony Bailey, number 66, got to Jason Assen again.
Okay, I've got Steve Sardi, big play receivers. Steve, so far, not that much of an aerial contest.
No, not really. We haven't quite figured out the defense are playing.
Okay. All right, there you have it. Steve has got to be taken, and perhaps they'll be throwing to him before the quarter is over. Though Steve Sardi.
That was a rather rushed interview down there with Steve Sardi. He got called away in a hurry. Third down, Calgary punting. Common with the win. Pretty good kick. Jeremy Stewart, number 34. Decent return for the Huskies. Better than decent. Penalty marker goes down.
I don't know if you're going to see it in the middle of your screen. Number 60, Greg Foran, right there. Boom, what a block he threw. And boy, that allowed number 34, Jeremy Stewart, a better opening. What a block that was by 60, Greg Foran. And, you know, those are the kinds of things that really get a team excited when they see people flying all around the field and bodies going everywhere. I mean, that gets the whole team excited. A penalty added on, and now St. Mary's has a real opportunity here. They lead by 5, and they can really take control of the game if they can punch it in.
Yeah, the rough play penalty sets the Huskies up with great field position just inside the 20-yard line.
Nice run by Jeremy Stewart.
22 yards for Stewart after a 41-yard punt. Add the penalty in, and the Huskies are threatening here. Touchdown! He held on, crossing the goal line. Anthony Williams, number 33. He lost the ball, but they ruled that he had possession going across the line. How did you see this, Leaf?
Well, I want to see it again, that's for sure. But David Sykes, a lovely job. Just as Anthony Williams, rather, clears the linebackers, the ball is there, and Peter Florence comes in with the hit. I don't know. That's pretty iffy.
Did he have possession?
Well, obviously the officials feel they did. It's tough to criticize it. The touchdown will stand, but give David Sykes credit. I mean, he timed the throw over the linebackers into that coverage perfectly, and Anthony Williams was there with the catch.
Mark Dallariva looks to add the extra points, and does, as the Huskies move out in front of the Dinosaurs, 23-11.
So the good punt return by Jeremy Stewart, and now the touchdown by Anthony Williams. And as we suggested, this was a perfect opportunity for St. Mary's to take control of this football game. Let's go back one more time. Did he or did he not have possession? There he has it. He's turning. What do you think?
Well, he's across the line, and I guess they're ruling that he had the ball as he went across the goal line.
I'm with you on that one. It's a touchdown.
Okay. Got the jubilation here. Steve Sardi, we're trying to reach Anthony Williams and Steve Party. Our cable won't go far enough. Steve, you heard the call. What was it?
It was 60 all go. 60 all go. So the out guy's main job is to spread them. So the inside guys are receivers. We had to sacrifice ourselves on that one so we can get the air game going. That opened Anthony up, and he got to run it against the safety, so it was wide open.
All righty. Now, I hope Leaf can probably disseminate that for you. And where is Anthony Williams here, if I get my hands on him? Okay, he's probably out getting mobbed by a fair amount. Here he is, Tony. Come on in. Come on in. All righty. Congratulations, Anthony. Tell me about the play.
Well, it was just a 60-yard go, and that means that all the receivers just streaked down the field. And Dave threw a nice ball inside to me and pulled it in.
You're the receiver. You see the ball coming. Do you say, I got a touchdown?
Well, I knew I was going to catch it, right? But I wasn't expecting the guy to hit me that soon.
Okay, national TV. You want to say hello to anybody?
Yeah, to my family here in Halifax and in Dartmouth.
All righty.
All right, thank you.
Okay, good luck. There you have it, a jubilant St. Mary's bench. They go ahead by more. Upstairs.
Well, what were they saying down there? Can you decipher some of that for us?
Oh, sure. It's easy. 60 all go means the 2 wide receivers and the 2 slot backs are running, you know, streak fly patterns down the field. And what you're anticipating is to get a zone defense. And that means then you play a game with the middle safety, who in this case was Peter Florence. Whichever way he goes, you throw the other way to your slot back. And they found Anthony Williams against a man-to-man defense. It's not a good pass pattern, but they know Calgary's conservative. They caught the right defense, and gives David Sykes credit. He picked out the right guy to throw to.
Yeah, we need one more, guys.
There he is. Good job, David.
The Atlantic Bowl stands at 23-11 for St. Mary's. The kickoff after the touchdown went out of bounds. And the Huskies are set to do it again. Kittleson on the return for the Calgary Dinosaurs, ahead of steam, and he's out across the 45-yard line to the 47. University of Calgary will have good field position to begin this drive. St. Mary's leading the Dinosaurs 23-11. Stay with us following the game as we award the Geo Player of the Game Award.
NTN's interactive games put you in the middle of televised sporting events, and you call the shots live. Football strategy in QB1. Predict goals scored with power play hockey. Step to the plate with Diamond Ball and challenge your knowledge with NTN Trivia. Compete against your friends and opponents across the NTN network. Now you can play in the majors for real. Now playing in licensed locations across Canada. QB1. For information, call 1-800-661-PLAY.
Welcome back to the Atlantic Bowl. We're live in Halifax in the campus of St. Mary's University, where the Huskies lead the Calgary Dinosaurs 23-11. Time is now for Jason Assen to get the Dinosaurs rolling again.
I think there's a real sense of urgency here for Jason Assen and his offense to get back in this game in a hurry.
Picked off, intercepted by Trevor Burke, number 10. That one hung up there on Jason Assen.
Trevor Burke, who had 4 of those picks on the season, he's an All-Canadian. He will be again this year. He goes high in the air, anticipates it perfectly. Don Blair couldn't get to it, and Trevor Burke comes up with a key interception. Watch how high he goes in the air and the effort that he makes. So, St. Mary's, simply put, they are making all the necessary big plays in this game and could find themselves in Toronto a week from now.
Yeah, it really is a star-studded defense when you look at some of the individuals. Trevor Burke, we haven't seen a whole bunch of this afternoon, but he is one of the key ingredients of that Huskies defense.
You know, I think you said it so well in the first half. They are so strong down the middle with Alex Iliopoulos and Trevor Burke, the middle safety.
Sykes intended that for Anthony Williams, number 33. And tempers flare a little bit as a penalty marker comes down. Jeremiah and Williams having words down there.
Okay, they say that this man is one of the hardest hitters in the country. Have you solved Justin Aston's arm situation? We're talking to Trevor Burke.
Well, right now, what he's been doing, he's been looking off pretty good, and so he's got me playing midfield all over the place. But that one, the wind just hung up in the wind.
I look around here, Trevor, and I obviously see the word momentum.
Well, yeah, our offense is starting to get on a roll. We're doing really well.
What's the defensive strategy? Play back, take it easy, conservative, or what?
Well, right now we're trying to like shut down the run. That's what we've been doing. So like once we shut down the run, they got to throw up in the air, and our DBs are looking for that.
Trev, good luck.
Thank you.
See you later.
Like say, hey, oh, it's gone?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'd like to say hi to my mom, dad, and friends back home in Oshawa.
In Oshawa?
Oshawa, Ontario.
All right. Hello to Oshawa. Hello upstairs to the broadcast booth.
Mongi, the ball carrier, on 2nd and long, and he'll be well short of the first down.
Of course, that's the advantage of having a 12-point lead. It's 2nd and 20, and you decide to run with the football because your defense is playing so well. You've pretty much shut down Calgary since early in the first quarter, so it's a good call. It's not a bailout call at all. It's just saying, hey, we got the lead, and we're not going to take any chances.
23-11, the Huskies leading the Dinosaurs. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go, third quarter. Punting situation, St. Mary's. Sagan kicking into the breeze. Not deep, taken by Patrick Hardy, number 35. 30-yard punts and not much of a return, as Hardy was tied up by Sean Marriott, number 45.
You know, I think it's critical for Jason Assen right here. He's given up an interception on the last series to Trevor Burke, but he can't worry about it. He's behind by 12. He has to have confidence in himself that he can complete some passes. He can't get gun shy just because he threw one interception, and I hope he has the confidence to continue throwing the football.
Yeah, the interception really didn't hurt the Dinosaurs. They've got the ball back in decent field position.
Well, this is a character check for Jason Assen right here. He has to stay in there and stand tough.
And the receiver open. Ryan Williams, number 24, couldn't hang on. Should have made that catch.
See, that's unfortunate because Jason Assen did everything he could to stay in and hang into that pocket, keep his feet moving. The pressure was coming, but watch the courage here that he has. I mean, he knows the pressure's coming, but he hangs in, and unfortunately, Ryan Williams couldn't hang on to it. Boy, when you're trying to get back into a game, you have to make those catches.
2nd and 10, Calgary at the Dinosaur 49. More heat. He got it away. Craig Kittleson. And he's within a yard and a half of the first down. Big hit on Kittleson.
And Ron Meyer, the right tackle, threw a super block on the middle linebacker, Alex Iliopoulos, to give Kittleson any kind of chance to pick up this first down. The screen play, the penetration comes. Cantner with the hit on Assen, but there's the block I talked about by Ron Meyer, the right tackle. What a beauty.
It'll be 3rd and 1. The Dinosaurs have had success converting on 3rd down a couple of times today. They're 2 for 2.
That's David Sykes, the St. Mary's quarterback, and those are the plays on his arm that he's been calling throughout the course of this game.
Houston, get out there!
Billy Robinson on the sidelines in charge of quarterbacks and receivers for St. Mary's.
Saw a huge play here on 3rd and 1.
Pitch to Kittleson. He has lots of room to the far side, gets the first down easily, and is forced out by number 10, Trevor Burke.
You know, normally you don't like to run to the outside on a 3rd and 1 gamble, but in some cases you have to. Look at this. I mean, count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys right there stuffing the middle. So it turns out to be an excellent call by Jason Assen to get to the outside. The lead block by David Evans and Kittleson out there. But, you know, they saw what St. Mary's was doing and they reacted to it quickly. That's good offense.
10 yards the gain, 1st and 10. Kittleson has 19 carries, 60 yards in the afternoon. Assen looks to put it up. He got away from the early pressure. Flag is down, and it's high for the intended receiver, Buchanan, James Buchanan. And Assen paid the price. He was decked.
How in the world did he ever get away from Tony Bailey initially? Bailey came in and had him lined up, and somehow Jason Assen was able to squirt away from him, but he took a tremendous hit at the end of that play as well.
Sorting out the infraction here. Referee this afternoon, Ray Muir. College football, the head man wears the white hat.
Is that because he's the good guy or what?
Penalty against the Dinosaurs. Hassan now faces 1st and 20.
And what he should be trying to do here is get half of it back on 1st down and then try and get the other 10 on 2nd down.
Has time to throw this time and looks long for Frater. Well, Frater was in the area, and so was Blair.
Well, that's a pass pattern that they had Blair open on in the first half. He snuck in behind the coverage, but you know, those are the kind of long bombs that you usually only get one shot at. I mean, you can fool the defense once, but hey, St. Mary's has seen this pattern a few times now, and it's going to be difficult for Frater and Don Blair to get in behind that defense.
That was the final play of the 3rd quarter at the Atlantic Bowl. Calgary Dinosaurs trailing the University of St. Mary's Huskies 23-11. Welcome back to the Atlantic Bowl, live from Halifax. The 4th quarter about to begin with St. Mary's leading Calgary 23-11.
And Calgary faced with a 2nd and 20 situation. This has been something that is so difficult to convert, and Jason Assen really in the 4th quarter here is going to have to pull a few tricks out of the bag to get his team back in this one.
Assen is hit as he tried to throw. The ball squirted loose. They call it no turnover, but Assen was decked.
And Noah Kantner, 79, came in, and Jason Assen is a very courageous young man. I mean, he is standing tall in the pocket that is caving in all around him. I mean, he knows the desperation of his situation here. He's down by 12. He has to complete some balls, and he absolutely got hammered. Boy, you don't think quarterbacks pay the price when they stand back there and all those guys coming in their face.
He has been decked a couple of times this afternoon. Mark Common punting into the stiff breeze here at Husky Stadium. Angles it out of bounds near the 20-yard line. All right, while we have a timeout here, let's go back to Paul Romanuk in Toronto.
And a cast of thousands slowly but surely filtering into the Skydome for the Churchill Bowl, which you can see live on TSN immediately following the Atlantic Bowl. The Guelph Griffins against the Queens Golden Gales. Before we get to that, let's get back to the conclusion of the Atlantic Bowl. Back to John and Leaf.
There's where it stands right now, 23-11. St. Mary's leading the University of Calgary. First down for the Huskies. Oxley, the ball carrier, number 22.
Well, the Calgary defense in the second half, I thought, has played very well, and they have to just keep plugging away out there, keep stroking and try and shut down St. Mary's, get the ball back for their offense as quickly as they can. I think that Calgary's defense should anticipate St. Mary's being on the conservative side. St. Mary's with a 12-point lead.
Gain is a couple, 2nd and 8 facing the Huskies now. David Sykes from the shotgun, looking for Ash. And Charles Ash couldn't bring it in.
What did I say about conservative?
Colin Newman was covering on number 11 that time.
2nd and 10, Sykes throws the bomb to Ash, and Ash was in behind Colin Newman. Ooh, that was a catchable ball.
Charles Ash, a speed receiver in the Huskies offensive scheme. 20 receptions, 514 yards, and 5 touchdowns during the regular season.
Yeah, he averaged almost 26 yards a reception, and that is phenomenal.
Into the final quarter of the Atlantic Bowl with 13:36 to play. Another injured player, and that's the quarterback, David Sykes, shaken up on the last play. Take you back and see what happened to David Sykes.
Go back and see the hit on Sykes, and just as he's totally exposed, releasing that football, the hit comes, and boy, he and Jason Assen both have taken some good shots from the oncoming lineman today.
Dana Sagan back near his 10-yard line on this third down punt. Don Blair takes it for the Dinosaurs, looks to the outside, squirts through. What a great return. He lost the ball, and Calgary has recovered. Colin Newman. So a big turnover, great field position for the Calgary Dinosaurs, trailing 23-11. This might be their chance to get right back in to the Atlantic Bowl. A 22-yard return sets the Calgary Dinosaurs up deep in Husky territory. Inside the 30-yard line at the 29. First and 10 Calgary.
Pressure-packed time for head coach Peter Cannella, and they have the necessary field position to get back in this game in a hurry. And well, you look at a critical point in the game, this is it.
Greg Kittleson, one of his best runs of the afternoon, and that's good for a first down.
And talk about a confidence builder for the Calgary offense. I mean, Kittleson's had absolutely nothing, but at probably the most critical stage of the game for them, he breaks one open. Good blocking up front, a nice hole. He picks up the first down, and boy, Calgary desperately needs the touchdown here.
13-yard gain sets Calgary up in excellent field position once more, just outside the 15. Kittleson just went down with a cramp, didn't he?
Well, you see the look of worry on Peter Cannellan's face, and everybody. I mean, you could hear like the hush go over the stadium here because you just don't know what happened to Kittleson. I mean, he is in terrible pain.
Took one step and went down.
Well, that's, I mean, I have no explanation for that. I have no idea what happened to Kittleson. If I were to guess, it looks like the right leg.
Yeah, he lost all power in the right leg.
I mean, I've heard and seen stories where guys have done nothing out of the ordinary and blown their knees out. And I mean, I truly hope that this is not the case, but I don't know. That's one of the strangest ones I've ever seen. I am sure Alex J is going to be Johnny on the spot.
Pardon the pun.
Get a report on this one.
Kittleson is up and headed to the bench. He seems to be walking okay. I don't really have any idea, like Leaf, as to what possibly went wrong. Actually, the play was developing quite well for Calgary with the blockers in front.
The bad news on top of the injury is the fact that they lost about 5 yards.
Second down and 15. Good fake by Assen, who takes off himself, has room to the far side, and is brought down by Brian Johnson. Penalty markers all over the place, and it'll be against the Huskies for piling on, I would believe. Late hit.
And this is really an undisciplined play by St. Mary's. I mean, you're up by 12 points. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, what in the world? I couldn't really even tell who it was.
They're still sorting out the penalties.
Well, now that roughing call, I mean, you know, you talk about turning points in a game. I mean, here Calgary's going to have to kick the field goal. Now they got a first down out of it. I mean, terribly undisciplined.
First and goal to go as Assen gets down to about the 6-yard line.
You know, I'd like to identify the player who took the penalty, but unfortunately on any of our charts that we've been given, we don't have a number 49 listed for St. Mary's, so we can't tell you who it was. I can tell you, though,
Phantom.
The Phantom made a pretty ridiculous play.
11:50 to go, fourth quarter. Second down, goal to go. Dinosaurs at the Husky 6-yard line. Sean Latter, the ball carrier. He's in relief of Craig Kittleson, and he's short of the first down, or short of the goal line by a couple of yards. So a gambling situation from the 3-yard line here.
The ball is spotted on the 3. Third and goal.
Yeah, and I think this is a good call by Peter Cannella. I think you have to get the touchdown first, and you know, field goal at this point really doesn't do a lot for them.
Dinosaurs are 3 for 3 in third down conversions this afternoon. This is the biggest play of the ball game for Calgary. Third and goal to go from the 3. Assen throwing on the run, and he missed his target. Big play by Brian Johnson for the Huskies defense. Dave Evans was the intended receiver, and this time the gamble didn't pay off. But I'm not so sure that Peter Cannella had any other choice than to go for it.
Well, you know, it's a good call. What you're hoping to do with the play action is to slow down the pass rush just a little bit, but it didn't fool number 65, Brian Johnson, at all. And you know, he was right in the face of Assen, and there was no chance for Assen to get enough mustard on the football to complete it to David Evans. Hey, yeah, it's discouraging. I mean, that's not a fun spot to be. You've seen your team knocking at the door, and you come away with nothing.
Now the Huskies begin at their own 3-yard line. Not much running room that time. Alex.
Okay, I've got Dwayne Brousseau here. Tell me about the defensive stand.
Well, it was just 1, 2, 3 downs on them, and we stopped them all 3 downs, and our offense got the ball. That's what we want to do, you know.
Now, they tell me you're one of the veterans here. Your 5th year, and this is how many Atlantic Bowls?
It's 3rd Atlantic Bowl. 4th. I'm not sure.
Feeling out there on that one?
Yeah. Well, you know, it takes a lot of effort to get here, and every time you get here, you got to be primed. It's a big game. It's you know, the showcase for Toronto, and just having a good time.
Thank you very much. We've been talking to Dwayne Brousseau. Back to the booth.
2nd and 7. Monge, the ball carrier, and he'll be short of the first down for the Huskies.
You know, John, Calgary missed obviously a glorious opportunity to get a touchdown back in this game. But hey, you know, there's just a little under 10 minutes remaining. The defense has held St. Mary's. Now they're going to get the ball back. I mean, not all is not lost. I mean, they still are in this game.
Yeah, there's good field position ahead for the Dinosaurs as you look at this third down punting situation. With Sagan kicking from his end zone.
Word from the sidelines on Craig Kittleson is that he has a hip problem.
De La Riva is actually into the ball game now as the St. Mary's punter. Mark De La Riva, number 88. Blair takes it. Good tackle by David Houston. Great field position for the Calgary Dinosaurs. They trail by a bunch, but they still have a chance. It's 23-11 in the fourth quarter of the Atlantic Bowl. First and 10 to go for the Dinosaurs, just outside the 30-yard line at the 32. Latter, the ball carrier, number 23. And he's likely got about 5 yards, number 23. Met and stopped by David Houston.
And that's the way the play is designed to be run. You get the kick out block by the lead fullback, Remo Cardoni. And then number 23, Sean Latter, cuts it back in up the grain. And although Kittleson's not in there, Sean Latter has looked pretty good.
Picked up actually 6 yards. This is 2nd and 4. Dinosaurs right at the Husky 25 now. Assen has James Buchanan, who has a first down. He was dropped by Paul Hewitt, number 40.
Smart call by Jason Assen. 2nd and 4, throw the hitch to James Buchanan. The corner, David Houston, giving him a lot of cushion. That's a smart call on 2nd down. But, you know, the good thing is you're in a good situation with 2nd and 4. And, of course, that's the key. That will be the key for Calgary if they can get back in this one. They have to have the good first down production.
Buchanan's 2nd catch. He has 30 yards on the afternoon. 9-yard pickup on the previous play. 1st and 10, Dinosaurs. Buchanan to the near side this time. Ladder gets the call and goes straight ahead. Number 23, Sean Ladder. Stay with us following the Atlantic Bowl this afternoon for the Churchill Bowl. Following immediately with Guelph meeting Queens at Skydome. Second down and 6 to go for the Dinosaurs. Assen sprints and throws to the end zone. Not quite. Frater was the intended receiver. And he got tight coverage that time from Brian Walker, number 27.
Boy, and St. Mary's brought about 7 people that time on Jason Assen. And here's Mike Frater. He adjusts at the end. He sees the quarterback in trouble, and now he works back to it. And Brian Walker, number 27, just got the hand in to knock that ball away. So once again, a gambling situation, and they really have no choice but to go for it at this point.
7 minutes, 25 seconds left in the 4th quarter. St. Mary's leading Calgary 23-11. Dinosaurs on 3rd down and 6. Have to go gambling here. Assen looks back the other way, looks to the end zone, and overthrows Buchanan. So they've been close.
I've been really impressed with number 25, David Houston, the corner for St. Mary's. You know, James Buchanan, the receiver he was covering that time, took a very narrow split. And that tipped off Houston that Buchanan was going to go back to the outside, and he just simply stayed on his outside shoulder and wouldn't let him get there. I mean, that's pretty heady play by number 25, David Houston.
So time is running out on the Calgary Dinosaurs, who have been close in their last 2 possessions, but haven't been able to come away with any points.
You know, they will look at this game if they end up losing it and say, hey, we sure had our chances.
Sykes to his right, and he's forced out for a loss of a couple.
And from Mississauga, David Houston. David, the defense has been number 1 all year long. You're just justifying it.
Absolutely. Today's the day. We're going to Vanier all the way.
No doubt.
No doubt in my mind.
There isn't one single shred.
What was that?
There's not a single shred of a doubt.
Not one.
Tell me about the defense.
What's there to tell? I mean, look at it today. We're awesome, man.
How do you judge their offense compared to what you've been fighting against here in Atlantic Canada?
Hey, we've seen the same offense every Saturday. Today's no different.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right. Okay, David Houston, back to the booth.
I think he has a little confidence.
Well, I think there's reason for optimism for the St. Mary's players and their fans.
St. Mary's gets a first down there. Brian Baker, defensive back, was called for holding on Anthony Williams, so penalty gives St. Mary's a 1st and 10.
Anthony Williams got the call that time, number 33. Chris Penner, the middle linebacker, made the tackle, number 65.
And that's a good move defensively. Calgary not known for their blitzing. They're starting to do that. I mean, they have to try and create a turnover now to get the ball back quickly for their offense. Chris Penner was shooting up the middle, and he was able to trap Anthony Williams on the reverse. It's one of the fellows, Mike McCarthy, the GM of the Argonauts, said he was watching closely today, Chris Penner.
2nd and a bunch facing the Huskies now. Monge got the call. He escaped from the first wave, but he'll come up well short of the first down at the far side of the field. Actually fell down.
You know, outside of the 1 touchdown reception by Anthony Williams in the 2nd half, the Calgary defense has played pretty well.
And the offense has had a couple of chances, but has been unable to capitalize for Calgary so far in the 2nd half. 23-11 right now. Dinos again is back in to do the punting for St. Mary's. James Buchanan looks for room to the near side. Caught by the first tackler downfield, Don Joska, number 42. 5:29 to play in the fourth quarter. This is the Atlantic Bowl, live from Halifax. To the Atlantic Bowl on the campus of St. Mary's University. We're inside Huskies Stadium, jam-packed full to the rafters today for the 1992 edition of the Atlantic Bowl, and happy fans they are here for the most part, with St. Mary's leading Calgary 23-11. Dinosaurs are 1st and 10. Sean Latter got the call. A 5-yard gain. Coming up later this afternoon, the Churchill Bowl. You won't miss the kickoff as Guelph and Queens get together at Skydome to settle the final berth for next Saturday's Vanier Cup. 2nd and 5, Dinosaurs. Frater to the far side. James Buchanan flanks to the near side of the field. Hassan looks to Frater and overthrew him. Another 3rd and long situation facing the Dinosaurs.
And I think, you know, really you look at this game and you say to yourself, what has been the big difference in this game? And it truly has been the play of the St. Mary's defense. I mean, you talk about the leading rusher in the country coming in here, and for the most part, they've controlled him quite effectively. So the difference to me is the way the St. Mary's defense has handled this Calgary offense.
Dinosaurs go gambling on 3rd and 5. A little play action by Hassan. Sean Lauder has the first down, and he steps out of bounds inside the 30-yard line near the 25.
Good call on 3rd down by Jason Hassan. The screen to Latter, and he has done a nice job coming in to fill in for the injured Craig Kittleson. So the outcome still is not in doubt.
4:11 to play. Dinosaurs need 2 touchdowns for the win. They trail by 12.
Yeah, I would say this, I mean, they have to score on this series, though. They're running out of time.
Hassan looks to the corner for Frater. Penalty marker is down as it's intercepted and picked off by Brian Walker. Cannon has had me jumping a time or 2 here this afternoon.
I'm just waiting for the ball to come out of it, though. That's what's making me nervous. We're up here on the scaffolding.
Here's the pattern by Frater.
And Mike Frater's going to be called for offensive interference. You see Brian Walker with just tremendous position, and then Frater grabs the jersey of Walker trying to break up the interception attempt, but Walker comes up with the interception. He was the leader in the secondary in picks this year with 5. That's his 6th on the season. So I would say that just about does it.
3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. The Dinosaurs need a quick turnover here and a quick touchdown to get back in the ball game. Monge carries, and penalty markers are down. Getting ready to party in Halifax tonight. St. Mary's on the verge of their first trip to the Vanier Cup since 1988.
61, decline, 2nd down.
Say, a very jubilant Brian Walker. I know how you feel. I want to hear you say it.
Oh, I feel great. It was a tough week, and we studied them really hard, and they were beating me a little bit, but I'm glad I came up strong when it counted.
So the game is over?
No, the game is not over by any means. There's still 3 minutes to go.
What has been the key in containing the leading rusher in Canada this year?
We knew that we had to stop him. We played against guys like Grant Keeney, and we knew how he could run. We just played the same kind of defense against him, and we knew if we shut him down, then the offense, then we could start shutting down the passing game.
Okay, I'm up. All right, mom for who?
Mom, Jackson.
All right. Last words from you.
I'd like to say hi to my mom and dad, to Paulette. I'm praying for your mom. Sorry to hear about Grandma, but the team dedicated this game to you.
All right, Brian Walker. Also, I know this is not Canada Post, but Scott Purdy, number 14, wants to tell his father in Dalal de Zalmo, Quebec, Dad, I am hurt, but I will be fine for next week. That is it. Canada Post signing over to the broadcast booth.
All right, Alex, I think you've got all the messages across there.
Yeah.
Talking to Brian Walker, who just picked off his 5th interception of the season. He's in his 2nd year of the arts program here at St. Mary's. And a native of Oshawa, Ontario.
Alex has been doing some solid work down there on the sidelines today. He's been hustling.
Sagan's punt. Almost one-handed by Don Blair, who flips it off to Patrick Hardy. And then Hardy is caught from behind by Andre Williams. 36-yard punt.
Good check, Dave. That's what we got there.
Although Brian Walker said the game is not over, there's still time left on the clock. In fact, 2:40 to be exact. You can slowly see the party starting to materialize on the St. Mary's sidelines. I mean, this is a happy group of young men that are going to have a chance to be the national champions next week in Toronto. Pretty exciting time in their lives.
Last time St. Mary's Huskies won the Vanier Cup was 1973. Angelo Santucci was on that team. Bill Robinson was on that team. So it's been a long wait out here. And the Huskies closing in on an opportunity to be at Skydome next Saturday afternoon for the Vanier.
Yes, sir.
Still 2:40 to go. It's 23-11. The Huskies leading the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. Alex?
Okay, Tony Oxley, the defense has been getting credit all year long. Hey, the offense came through, a fair amount of points on that board.
Well, we wanted to put up more points than that, but the defense played a great game today, and looks like we're going to win it.
Give me the key play of the game on offense.
Well, the key play of the game on offense, for sure, right now is Anthony Williams catching that touchdown pass, especially when we needed it. We were in a hole.
Some guy called Oxley did a pretty good run.
yeah, I did. That was okay, but I still got a lot more to go. We got to win the Vanier Cup now.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks, Hone.
Yep.
All right. Anthony Oxley talking about key plays. He made one of numerous this afternoon. Yes.
Yes, Alex, a 93-yard run for Anthony Oxley, setting up a touchdown for the Huskies. Asson's pass. Sean Latter was the intended receiver, and he came up, at least Asson came up a little shorts. Sean Latter is in because Craig Kittleson had to leave the game, the late #1 rusher in Canadian college football, injured in the 3rd quarter.
Toby, love you, man. We're coming home. We're going to see you. Going to the show, baby. Going to the show.
Going to the show. I love it.
2nd down for the Dinosaurs. Asson stands in and delivers. Frater makes the catch. And that'll be good for a 1st down. First reception for Mike Frater.
Really? I mean, is that his first?
Second
catch. Yeah, they've controlled him nicely, and of course that was a concern of Larry Utek. They needed to stop Frater.
Almost intercepted by Reno Barbati. Don Blair was the intended receiver. 2:09 to play in the Atlantic Bowl.
Barbati, the inside halfback, comes across, stepping in front of Don Blair, and the St. Mary's secondary like to play that man coverage late in the game. Now they're playing the zone, react to the ball in the air, and Barbati did an excellent job.
2nd and 10 facing the Dinosaurs. This time it is intercepted by Barbati. Ran into one of his own men, and he's slowed down by that and dropped near the 50-yard line. And that'll just about do it for the Dinosaurs if they had any hope at all.
Well, he came close a couple of plays ago, and on this one, he back in the short, flat area, and as the ball is in the air, that's what zone defense is. React to it when it leaves the quarterback's hand, and Barbati does it perfectly. Steps in front of number 24, Ryan Williams, and comes up with the interception. In fact, you know, he didn't have a single interception on the entire season. It took him a while, but he finally got one. That's been a pretty significant story in this game, too. Some of those turnovers, of course, were third down gambles by the Calgary Dinosaurs, which count as turnovers, too, in fact. The others, some interceptions.
Oxley is the ball carrier, number 22. 180 yards rushing last week for Anthony Oxley. So happy times on the Huskies bench.
Mom, Dad, Joe, Ben. John, back home. He did that by himself.
Second and 5 as Sykes keeps himself and takes a couple of seconds off the clock. Minute 33 to go now. You know that Huskies name?
Nope.
Number 1 in Atlantic Canada, the St. Mary's University Huskies have had a great season, unbeaten so far. 8-0 regular season, a win last week over Mount Allison, and about a minute and a half away from heading to the Vanier Cup.
Hey, Senza, Medina Fort, eh? Senza Pale, Medina Fort, oh! Love you guys.
I think that was a little Italian.
I think it was a little Italian. Reno Barbati. First interception of the season just moments ago. A minute 33 to go.
Yeah, offensively, it really hasn't been an oil painting for St. Mary's today. 16 punts is an unusually high amount. They've simply won it with big plays. Enough of them to defeat the Calgary Dinosaurs today.
Buchanan has it bounced by him. It goes to Blair. Penalty markers are down. And while they sort this one out, time now for the TSN Turning Point. Brought to you by Apple Auto Glass.
Well, it came early into play. It turns out to be a 93-yard run by Anthony Oxley. And on the previous series, Sean Monge had taken a screen pass 60 yards for a touchdown. So back-to-back really huge plays for the St. Mary's Huskies. They set the tone of the game early, and I don't think the Calgary Dinosaurs could ever recover from that run by Anthony Oxley.
A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Apple Auto Glass. Saves you money on stone-chipped windshield repair. University St. Mary's Huskies getting set for a trip to the Vanier Cup. Later this afternoon, we'll find out who will meet the Huskies in the Vanier Cup. Will it be Guelph or Queens, the Churchill Bowl? Coming your way next, live from Skydome, with Gord Miller and Jamie Bone.
Will take place on the 55-yard line at the timer's bench.
Frieder was the intended receiver.
Well, the fact that Calgary really never had plan B this afternoon, I think, was their downfall. You know, once it was established that Kittleson was not going to be able to run wild against the St. Mary's defense, they just couldn't say, okay, good enough, we'll go to the passing game. It just never materialized for them. And Mike Frater, the top receiver, he's had a tough day.
Another third down gamble for the Dinosaurs, and time has all but run out. Ladder made the catch. Number 23, Sean Ladder. Into the final minute now, 1:02. Larry Utek on the sidelines, getting ready to celebrate a trip to the Vanier Cup.
Well, it's a nice season for Larry Utek. 5 titles out of 6 years in the Atlantic Conference, and now he is going to go to the show, as his players like to call it, next week at Skydome, the Vanier Cup, for his 3rd time. And will he be 3rd time lucky? He's 0 for 2 so far, but will have a chance to maybe taste victory, as a national championship could be on the line for him.
Huskies are ranked #1 in the nation, heading toward the Vanier Cup, and just running down the clock here now with a couple of extras in there. That was Jeremy Stewart, number 34, getting a chance to carry the ball offensively. He spent most of the afternoon handling punt and kickoff returns. 57 seconds now. Happy times in Nova Scotia with the Huskies. And a very convincing victory this afternoon over the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. Second and 10 for the Huskies with 45 seconds showing on the clock. Some confusion for David Sykes. Finally caught by Roger Reinson. "35 seconds left now." I would think that he might be smiling at this point. Mr. Utek.
When you're the head coach, you're not allowed to do that till the gun sounds. I mean, it's the unwritten rule of coaching, I think. Come on, Larry, you've got it in the bag here.
35 seconds to go, a 12-point lead.
Ready for the rush.
And they're still discussing things with quarterback David Sykes. That's Billy Robinson on the right. 23-11. Huskies on top of the Calgary Dinosaurs. St. Mary's facing 3rd and 11. Now a possible smile on the sidelines. Just 35 seconds on the clock, and they are playing it out for all it's worth here at Huskies Stadium.
Well, you know things are going your way when on a 3rd and 11 gamble you can run a quarterback sneak and pick up a 1st down. And if that doesn't bring a smile to the head coach's face, I don't know what will.
Yeah, it only took 5 seconds, though, so we might be another 10 minutes before they wind up this football afternoon in Halifax. "23 seconds now. And right after this, we'll send you to Skydome for Guelph and Queens, the Churchill Bowl. 13 seconds now. Stewart. And just 8 seconds remain. This should be the last play of the game coming up here and now. A few Dinosaur fans in attendance here, but obviously the hometown crowd is cheering for Larry Utek and the University of St. Mary's Huskies. Great football afternoon for the Huskies. Solid defense, enough big plays on offense to carry them to victory. Final play of the Atlantic Bowl coming right up. And the St. Mary's Huskies head to the Vanier Cup for the first time since 1988. The Huskies 23-11 winners over the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. So Larry Utek gets a chance, his 3rd chance at winning the Vanier Cup. Now we send you to Skydome, and Paul Romanuk standing by.
All right, thank you, John. Final score 23-11 at the Atlantic Bowl. Coming up next, live on TV.